Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy, yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us again on another just death-defying, insane, crazy edition of Crime and Sports. Another wild, kind of nutty one here that a lot of you guys might not have heard of. Very specific people have heard of this guy, and he's kind of a cult hero in what he does, but he's not a mainstream star.
Evil Knievel?
He's a mainstream guy. Evil Knievel was on national TV constantly. Oh, yeah, he was a...
People don't know
everyone
who he is
knows
now, do they?
No, but at the time when he was out, everybody, I don't think there's a person in America that didn't know who the fuck
you're probably right.
He was like the Hulk Hogan of the 70s, you know what I mean?
He had fucking... what do you call those
Evil
things?
Knievel, the Hulk Hogan of the 70s.
The little dolls, the action figures.
Action figure, I had all that stuff, but never mind all that. We'll get to that, this crazy episode. I have to thank everyone for their iTunes reviews this week. Once again, they are huge, and they made a huge difference, as they always do. They help get you noticed, and they help drive us up the charts. So we've said it before, but we'll say it again. Yeah. If you have not, please get on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter. It's not for our ego. It is truly just for business purposes, because it really helps. And if you want to be an even bigger hero,
you can.
Speaking of business purposes, if you want to be one of our producers, one of our most special and beloved people that you will hear a long list of at the end of this show.
You are almost special.
Oh, God, we love you. But you can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports or going over to PayPal. You can just use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. Over there, if you want to get a hold of the show, it's at Crime and Sports on everything. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com to get all of your Crime and Sports t-shirts, all of your You Sir May Fuck Offs and your Crime and Sports logos, and anything you can imagine, it's on there. We have it on mugs and blankets, whatever you want.
Plenty of shit.
It's on there. Go there. Also, you can donate. There's links to there, links to upcoming tour info and all that good stuff. But never mind all that shit, Jimmy, because I got to tell you, it's a weird one today. Another one where we're like, it's not a sport we're used to. We've only done a few of these. It's race car driving.
Oh, great!
Now, anybody who's listening now, they're like, I don't know any race car drivers. Shut up.
You don't have to.
Don't you dare skip this goddamn shit, because if you've not listened to any of our racing episodes,
they're the fucking best.
You're lost, because I'm sorry, these are hillbillies who have this weird inside drive, for lack of a better term, to go at hundreds of miles an hour for some reason. These are adrenaline junkie hillbillies. Yeah. They make for great episodes. Always. They're always interesting people. They're never...
The ending is always
never
the
just
most
boring.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're just like, how the fuck did we get here?
Yes, we are only kind of person who kind of snapped back at us really and tried to come at us was a race car driver and his wife, give us the business and deny everything and all that was them. Apparently, Sonny thinks we're assholes, but that's fine.
I'm fine with that.
I thought that was hilarious. I don't mind that at all. We are assholes.
Speaking of assholes, Sonny, yours spoke up in your porno.
Hey, listen to me. We're assholes, but we know we're assholes. Right. You own your shit. Call us assholes. Own what you've done, and you have owned it in the past. That's why it's like, don't be mad at us for calling it out and laughing at a few things.
And then
I think we were pretty fair to Sonny, as a matter of fact. We talked about how talented she was. She's very intelligent. We talked about all that shit. We
said you were beautiful at one point in time.
That's fine. Yeah, that's good. I mean, we said enough good things about her, and it just outweighed by, sorry, your actions, which are not my fault or Jimmy's fault. So we apologize to nobody. Exactly. Eat dicks. Anyway, which you will.
She does.
She does.
She gobbles them for money.
That's her business, though. That's not my business. business.
It is.
Gobble up all
her
she
business,
wants.
But it's also
it's her business.
We're also free
business,
to
Jimmy.
make fun of that.
That
business.
is her money business.
Money-making business.
So let's get down to business here. Speaking of business,
yeah.
Let's get down to our business,
Okay.
which is criminal athletes, which is a guy here. Now, the pronunciation on this, I'm just going to go with Balough. It's Gary Balough, Gary Lee Balough, Balough. But I would say it's Balough, you would imagine, right?
Or Balough.
Balough, but his nickname is Hot Shoe. So
Okay,
I am
so it's
going
gotta be
to say
Balough.
that it has to be Balough.
Yeah.
It just has to be. Gary Hot Shoe Balough.
Yeah.
So I love it when they have a nickname that helps you. Like once in a while they'll have a
Maybe
fighter
that's
like
why
that.
they did it.
We'll have a fighter like that once in a while. It's like, how the fuck do you say that name? And then his nickname will rhyme with one of the pronunciations. You're like, that's how you say it, because his nickname goddamn rhymes with it. So there you go.
Somebody
That's what we
did
have
that
here.
so they could remember his shit, and they just said it out loud.
Well, they look at, I think it's one of those things where, like, and I know fighters at least, a manager will look at it and go, no one's going to be able to know how the fuck to say that last name. We need to, here, put a nickname in that sounds like that. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Garnished. There's the parsley. Slap it down on the plate. So, Gary Balough here. Gary is born September 16th, 1947.
Okay.
Now, he's a Florida guy.
Yeah.
It's hard. There's not a lot on his childhood. He has a book that just came out.
Really?
It's only on his website.
Oh.
So any book that's only on a person's website, I will not pay money for.
Right.
Because
then you're contributing to their delinquency.
Well, it's like, it's not, you couldn't even get that on Amazon. Like, It's pretty easy to get a fucking self-published book on Amazon. It's not difficult. So I know several people that have done that. It's not that hard. Get your goddamn book on Amazon. While you're at it, get a goddamn Kindle version, because if you think I'm going to pay you, and we'll get to the price of it, whatever, later on, I'm going to pay you that amount of money, then fucking wait 2 weeks for my hardcover to come. Fuck yourself. No.
Is the hardcover like that black and white cover? You know, like, is it written in pencil? That's my question.
No. It's
Did he
got
write
an
this shit
actual
in number 2.
You know what? I haven't seen a picture of the actual book. It's just like a graphic of the cover with like a picture of him, and we'll get to the book and all that.
I wonder if it actually has a cover. If it's that black and white speckled cover. You know what I mean?
And also, that's possible.
A fucking journey? Or
a
journey? No, a diary or a journal. I mixed
like
two words together.
A composition book.
Right.
Like one of the ones that are,
that's what I mean.
3 for $1 when it's school supply season.
I'll bet that's what it is.
Yeah. What I used to write all my jokes in all the time before I switched to spirals like a fucking civilized human being. Yeah.
I didn't even do that. I have legal pads.
That's my main thing is legal pads.
Big fucking yellow legal pad.
I have the big legal pad. You know me. I have
with awful jokes.
How many notebooks do I have? I have
all those teeny tiny ones.
That's my third layer.
Yeah.
I start out with the books, the composition books. I go to legal pads, or I start out with the legal pads. I go to the spiral notebooks, so they're bigger and more organized. That way I can get everything, and then I go to the smaller books to have to take to comedy to clubs, so I know where my set lists
fits in your fucking back pocket.
Exactly. So
or
I know
17 of them in your messenger bag.
That's more like it. Yeah. Yes. You think I'm prepared here? It's worse there. So anyway, Gary is. I was going to call him a different name than that.
Balough.
And then Gary came out, and I went, his name's not Gary. Then I said, his name is Gary. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So Gary here grows up in Miami.
Okay.
Now this is a big thing that keeps coming up throughout his entire racing career, is that he's not a hillbilly.
Okay. He says that out loud a lot?
No, he doesn't say that. Everyone else says that.
Oh.
And it's like, just for him existing, people don't like him, because how dare he not be a hillbilly?
Right.
And it's literally like, he just got an air about him. And it's like, no, he's just existing, and he's not a shit kicker like you. He speaks of indoor plumbing, and it makes you fucking offended.
And enunciates
things. Is fucking ridiculous. So that happens to him a lot, though. Like throughout his career, people are not happy that he is not a hillbilly, that he's from Miami. He's kind of a city kid, and that's not okay with racing. That's their thing. Mm-hmm. It's their thing. They don't want anybody intruding on that.
Right. Coming in with their clothes and stuff.
With their shoes.
Right.
And your shirt's on under your overalls.
Right.
It's not enough that you're wearing overalls. You have a shirt on, and that's not okay. That's NASCAR, if you don't know, and if you haven't listened to our other episodes, and I don't know how much this has actually come up. Right. Actually, I think it did in like the Ben Kramer episode from 100 episodes ago. By the way, this is our 200th show of both of our shows. Show number 200. But NASCAR started out as like these were like moonshining people who decided to race their fast moonshining cars against each other.
They had fast cars in the first place to run from the cops.
Exactly.
And it was running on moonshine.
We should race each other.
I'll bet my bandit car's faster than yours.
And there you go.
And he's like, all right, well, I'll take that challenge.
And next thing you know, major corporations are sponsoring this garbage. But that wasn't until the last 30, 40 years. Before that, these were like these were self-funded, low-budget operations, often funded by criminal enterprises. That's like racing it's almost like horse racing. It was all like, a lot of criminals own these horses. It's a money laundering way to do that. This is kind of what happened here with these guys is they needed money. So every episode we've done on anything like Ben Kramer, Randy Lanier, that episode, anybody who drove a race car in the 70s also drove power boats, and they all smuggled cocaine and weed and everything else. And it was like super easy to back then. Watch the Cocaine Cowboys documentary and think pre 1981-ish when the feds went batshit and
stopped it.
Well, just made it more difficult and stopped shit.
No, nothing stopped.
Made it a little more. They
put their foot down lightly.
Made it so now we got to go. Oh, we can't. We got to go around that. Oh, that's it. But before it was just like, just drive up to the coast and just hand the guy all your shit, and then he'll put it in a truck and drive away, and that's fine. Like nobody gave a fuck. Nobody looked. Nobody watched.
Now they have to submerge the boats.
Now they have to do different things, and it's a different deal. But back then, he would hang around the Hialeah Speedway, I guess. This is like in the early 60s, we're talking 61, 62, when he's like 14 years old. His mother apparently knew that he wanted to go to the racetrack all the time, and his dad didn't want him to go all the time. So his mother would like leave the window open for him so he could sneak out and shit like that.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. His mother
contributed to the shit.
Contributed to his insanity here. He would go and watch a bunch of people, and his dad is a policeman also. So his dad's a strict guy, and he has problems with his father as he goes into his teens, as we'll find out here.
He was rebellious. Weird.
He's rebellious. His dad's not taking it. It's the It's the 60s. I mean, he's being rebellious in the 60s, and his dad
sees what goes on when a kid's rebellious.
His dad has got a crew cut like nobody's business, and not a sideburn to be seen.
No.
His sideburns are shaved up to his eye, up to like above his eyebrows. I feel like they're that aggressively.
And they're waxed.
I will not have sideburns in my home.
I will not have any hair on my face.
No sideburns in my home. None. Damn it, none. Nothing. Well, except for that mustache. I got a push broom that nobody believed. I keep it nice. I keep it thick and nice and trimmed.
The wife likes it.
The wife, it tickles her. It tickles her a little bit. And she goes,
"Oh, right there on the top of it."
You know how that goes.
They say that there's something buried in there, but whatever it is.
Gary, I guess his brother. His brother took him to the Old Medley Speedway. It was for his first race, and he said he was hooked right away, super into it. He said, quote, "I think I was destined to race. As soon as I was around it, I wanted to be a part of it. My boyhood dream was to run the Grand National Circuit, and still is." This was, he said later on in the 70s.
This
here.
Is roundy round track. This is like NASCAR stuff.
This is like but this is these are kind of like these late model speedway things. I'm not an expert on this shit at all.
But my point is that it's not open wheel like
no. It's Daytona, it's not Le Mans or whatever. It's not like a European
it's not
street
Indy 500.
racing.
It's fucking.
It's cars.
It's big, heavy
stock
steel cars. Right.
Big stock cars. So he I guess he helped out. He started helping out racers. Just like, hey, what can I do? You know what I mean? Can I hold that for you? Can I fucking get you a wrench? I don't know.
Pass you a hammer.
Can I just hang out here and I'll help in any way I can. At 14 years old, when he didn't really know how to drive yet, he was put out in a car. The racer let him drive his car here.
At 14.
It was a fifth. That's how most of these guys start. It was a 51 Chevy Coupe. This wasn't like a mini, this is a giant boat of a car that weighs a lot of pounds, tons.
And coupe just means 2 doors.
Yeah,
That's all
it's
that
a
means.
big fucking
it's still
car.
a big fucking
It's a goddamn boat.
And it's steel.
Oh, it's a big steel boat. Yeah, absolutely. This'll take out a building with this fucking car. So his first night out, he won his first race.
Get out of here.
He wins his first race.
Can you imagine the swearing that went on in those pits?
Oh, my God. He's fucking...
And the guys, the veterans that lost, that went to go shake the hand of the winner.
Oh, my God.
And
this little cocksucker.
And he's got a lolly in his mouth. They just fucking flattened him.
They just called him the little cocksucker. That was his... Who won? Little cocksucker. Who? Little cocksucker. You know what I'm talking about.
Go find the boy with the lolly. He did it.
The kid who ain't got no pubes. That one. That's the kid.
Start pantsing, folks.
Yeah.
And when you find the bald dick, that's the winner.
Congratulate him when you find him.
High five or shake his hand, your choice.
And then pull his pants back up because he is a child, and you will go to jail for that. So that's going to be a problem
for a long time.
Actually, not probably in 1960.
Then, no.
1961, you could pants a child, no problem. People would be like, yeah, that's fine. What? That's what?
Right, you better fuck him.
Yeah, are you going to fuck him or what now? But if you fuck him, you better marry him, Jimmy. That's the thing. That's the difference, though. If you fucked a kid back then, they expected you to marry him.
Right.
That's you make an honest child out of that
wife
child. Yeah,
make an honest.
Fucking ridiculous. And they thought that was being moral.
I know.
Well,
now
they're going to get married. Well, that's not good enough. Shouldn't be fucking them at all, married or not. Married doesn't help it.
Keep your cock out of my kid.
Because a priest told you could fuck my kid, now you can fuck my kid? We're taking their advice on kid fucking? No.
And now it's sanctioned by the law.
Oh, man. That's awful.
Now the mayor and governor approve it.
All of them. Like, yep, this is going to work. We'll sign off on that. If people bought you presents for it.
Right.
You got a mixer.
You got a new spatula for fucking that kid.
That's a super nice KitchenAid you got on your counter. Yep, just had to fuck a kid for it. It's pretty good.
Like your Harvest Gold refrigerator.
That's nice. Well,
I know. It's the same price as a 14-year-old's pussy.
Not bad. Put that on your registration and fuck away, right? That's how you do it.
Sweet Christ.
What store has an underage child bride registry?
Likely Sears.
It's got a KitchenAid. Well, they wouldn't have any registry now.
Not anymore.
You get a KitchenAid, you get some dolls and some... It's not
Bed
good.
Bath and Underage. Is that what it is?
I think that's the store.
Bed Bath and Prepubescent.
That's a nice store. That's a good store. I like that store. Yeah. There is no rape in the story whatsoever, by the way. No one rapes anyone. We did. We got 15 minutes into this thing, and somehow we put rape in the story of a child driving around a track. That's all it was. There's no sex involved in this at all. We didn't say he just fucked a girl. No. He knocked up a kid. Right. Nothing. We pulled that out of our asses.
We went there.
We just got to, Bed Bath and no grass on center. And then I don't get it. So,
holy Christ.
Bed Bath and no grass on the pitch, and here we go. I like it. So, anyway, he's really, he gets right into this deal. His first year, he wins 37 races.
Jesus.
As a child.
At 15.
As a teenage kid, in the novice class that first year. So, I mean, it's a bunch of other kids. It's not like they have seasoned drivers here, but still, he's the best of the whatever, of the non-professional drivers here. This is at Hialeah, Palmetto, Hollywood, and there's a bunch of other shit around Miami.
All over Florida.
Apparently, there's a lot of racing down there in South Florida. Shocking, right?
Surprise.
Hillbillies like to race.
Right.
Yeah, flatland hillbillies like to race. I call them sea-level hillbillies.
Right.
They're not really hillbillies.
Right.
They're like sea-level billies. That's what they are. They just come from
They're beach
swamps.
billies.
Swamp billies. That's what they are. Glade billies. Very nice.
Oh, Christ.
So by the time he's 16 years old, he's like a known entity that people are like, holy shit. Like, wow, this is not fucking, this kid can actually race. Like people are looking to hire him to race their cars when he's 16. He's not just like getting, being able to race as a favor to somebody. No one's just going, all right, we'll let the kid race. He's winning, he's winning like, with like nice cars too. They're not even like shit boxes. Yeah. People are trusting him with like nice late model cars to race with here. By 21 years old, he had the Florida Governor's Cup. He wins that against at the Tampa Golden Gate Speedway, and this was like the best of all of the Florida drivers were there. And he says, "quote Everybody was there. It was like the early days of Syracuse," which is a the track we'll talk about later on that he has some interesting things on. So he would show up. He was he also too. He studied like the mechanics of the cars. He wasn't just like into drive and didn't care. Like he could design shit. Mm-hmm. He knew like the mechanics of these cars. Like he had ideas of how this is how we can make them faster. Yeah. Like he was really into everything that surrounded these cars.
It's amazing.
It is. He's really, really into it. He's a savant with this type of shit. He worked with a NASCAR Grand National driver named Tom Pistone, who was apparently a good fabricator of car welding and shit like that.
Make it more aerodynamic.
Yeah, this guy Pistone ends up sending him up to Pennsylvania to help a customer out with a car. So like he's that good already where they can send him. Yeah. They send him to deal with a high level customer about dealing with a dirt chassis of a car. So I didn't know shit about that when I was a kid. I still don't. No. Balough Gary said he didn't really know anything about dirt either. He didn't care. He said, quote, "I never raced dirt. I was an asphalt guy. I had no interest in racing dirt. It wasn't my style." But he could still know shit that he didn't even care about. So
he's a classy driver.
Yes, that's what he thought. But then he said, quote, "Watching guys like Clayt Husted." Wow. You ever heard of Clayt? His name is
Clayt.
Listen to these names, okay? Watching guys like Clayt Husted and Blackie Watt get around the old Latrobe track. Blackie Watt?
And it's a white guy.
I'm sure it's a white guy. He's a white guy. He's just very dirty all the time. He works in a coal mine, so they called him Blackie.
Blackie, and he's the most racist person I've ever met.
I've never met a man named Blackie who wasn't white. That's the weird part. Ever.
That's how it always is.
Yeah. In New York, I knew 4 kids named that went by black that were black, but they weren't Blackie.
Right.
That would be insulting. I feel like at that point.
Right.
So anyway,
I'm steering clear of this whole conversation.
It's who knows? Yeah, the Blackie scandal. We don't want to have a black.
Listen, Papa John just got in way too much trouble. I want out of this.
Yeah. Well, imagine if Blackie Watt owned the chain. He'd fuck the whole thing up.
The difference is I'm not racist, and Papa John clearly is.
Well, yeah, Blackie Watt still up for debate. We're not sure, but I'm going to go with probably.
Most guys named Blackie probably got some questionable actions.
A 1960s down south dirt track racer named Blackie.
Right.
I'm going to go with racist, maybe, possibly, or maybe he was very much into Motown. That's possible. Either way,
just all black culture. He digs it.
He digs it. But he said, watching guys like Clayt Husted and Blackie Watt get around the old Latrobe track, I realized that just because it's dirt, you didn't have to slide the car around. You could still drive it. Clayt Husted really impressed me. I watched how he got around, not buzzing the tires, and no one was as smooth as he was. I don't know what any of that shit means. No. Apparently, you don't have to slide around on dirt like
buzzing
some
means
silly
spinning
shit.
Them. So he's keeping the car under control.
There you go. He's not acting like a jackass out on the dirt.
He doesn't look out of control. He looks like he's very well in control of that vehicle.
No, yeah, okay, I get that. So he ends up going up to Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, and races a lot there. He races both asphalt and dirt, so he gets into dirt. Also, there's I guess clay tracks they race on.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, this article's amazing. It says, quote, Balough's transition from macadam, I don't know what the fuck that is, to clay was further facilitated by Spud Murphy, a man named Spud Murphy. So far we have the only people mentioned so far by him are Clayt Husted, Blackie Watt, and Spud Murphy. What the fuck is this? Is like some sort of hillbilly mafia. Yeah. That's what this is. This is a hillbilly mafia. That's what's going on.
They'll steal your taters out the ground.
Hillbilly mob names. Yeah. This is fucking ridiculous.
They'll harvest your corn before you get the chance.
Oh, they're going to just harvest it.
They'll just do it in your slate.
You don't even know. You ain't going to hear them. You'll think you'd hear them. You think
you're
it'd be loud.
You're going to walk out there. You're going to see those tall stalks and be like, I can't wait to harvest that. You walk out to them plants, not a damn ear on them.
Ain't a kernel to be found. Not one kernel. Not a kernel this side of the Mississippi. Let me tell you something right now.
Let me tell you what. Will be dug up. Every one of them.
And by Spud Murphy. Blackie Watt's driving the getaway car. So,
Christ.
This guy, I guess, was another Florida racer, Spud Murphy, who was also doing the northeastern United States dirt tracks, the oval tracks they had up there. This guy, Spud Murphy, got Balough with an owner of a race team, a guy who gives racers cars, a guy named Paul Hildebrand, and also Richard Egg? I don't fucking know. EGE? It's a terrible name. I'm going to call him Eggy just because I like that. That sounds funny.
It's probably Ege or Iggy.
I'm going to go with Eggy because then his name is Dick Eggy, which is fucking great. And so Dick Eggy here, they owned a dirt modified car in New Jersey, and this is great. Gary says, quote, Spud told me NASCAR may be the goal, but this is where the money is. Yeah. So, this is the...
There's also money in NASCAR. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah, shitload.
Back then, though, and we'll talk about the finances of it, back then, not a lot of money.
Drivers, right.
You had, even the owners, you had to do it. It was like you had to do it for the love of it. You had to be a competitive guy that owned a team that wanted to beat another guy. You were a rich asshole who was like, I don't like that other rich asshole who owns that team. I'm going to fuck him up.
I'm going to put a ton of money into it and get nothing out of it.
That's the only way to be, is to make it to be like a George Steinbrenner and not really care about your return on it. You just want to win, because you're not going to make money back then on racing, unless you have a guy who wins every race, and then you might make some money. But other than that, you're not. Okay. And they usually always say they give the drivers take half the winning of it, of whatever it is, and then the team gets the other half for the car and shit. But a lot of these times, like a car, from what I'll see, there'll be a car and they'll win a race, and the car costs more than the race. To build that car costs more than the race to win.
Today?
Then.
Okay.
So
right.
Now I have no fucking idea.
No,
I don't know what do you win in a race?
There's millions of dollars at stake now.
Is that what you win?
For the Indy 500, the open wheel race was
a bunch of skull I can chew.
Depends on your sponsor how much money you get.
You get a bunch of Miller High Life.
Don't you dare drive for Skittles, because you ain't getting nothing but the rainbow.
Bags of rainbow. And then everybody going to think you're gay, and then they ain't going to hang out with you down at the Oval. So
good old Jeff Gordon has tons of DuPont paint in his garage.
That's all he does.
There's only so many coats of paint you can put on your house.
He repaints his house every 2 weeks just to be a dick about. He puts up pictures, and you're just like, my new color, and you're just like, you some bitch, every damn time with that damn paint. My wife is bitching at me. Paint the goddamn house, and I'm like, Jeff Gordon, you bastard, with your garage full of paint. He ain't offering nobody none.
Nobody.
He ain't offering nobody. I went over his house and said, woo, boy, Jeff, you got a lot of DuPont paint there. That's real nice. My wife been saying she really want to repaint the thing. He just said, yeah, you should do that. And he kept on going. He could have said, well, why don't you grab yourself a couple cans? He had a damn garage full, whole damn bay of it full of it. He could have said, why don't you grab yourself a couple cans? I got eggshell down there. I got a lot of nice colors. But what did he do? Nothing. He just walked inside because he's some bitch. That's all I'm going to say about it.
He popped the top and said, yep, you should do that.
You should do that. And he walked on inside. Didn't even offer me a beer, nothing. No paint, no beer. Bullshit.
Some bitch.
He's bullshit. So he's down there. He said that Spud is telling him about NASCAR. Like I said, he didn't have a lot of success right away, which I would assume you'd have to get used to driving on dirt tracks and shit like that. So he got a new car. A guy helped him build a car. A guy named Whip Mulligan.
Good Christ. Does anybody have a real first name?
Whip, Spud, Blackie, and Clayt. What the fuck is happening with these people? Whip, Spud, Blackie, and
Whip.
What? Blackie what?
Right.
I like Blackie, but I kind of like Whip now. Whip Mulligan. Whip Mulligan sounds cool too. That sounds like a 50s movie star, doesn't it?
Or a fucking 1980s or 80s, Jesus, 18 fucking slave driver.
Maybe, yeah. They call him Whip Mulligan.
They call him Whip.
But he sounds more, I really feel like he's like a 50s guy, like a Whip Mulligan. There's a 50s movie star.
Pinstripe.
Starring Whip Mulligan. And he just comes in, hello.
It's always like some high-pitched dick as the announcer.
Yeah.
And then the star tries his best to put in like the deepest voice he can possibly do.
And he comes in, he goes, I'm home.
Right. But
and a fully dressed woman runs out in her makeup and just, dinner's ready, dear.
The movies were sped up, so the voice of the actor also raised a couple of octaves, too. So they're doing their best to deepen it to sound like a dude.
Well, that also, the problem is in the 30s. And in the 30s, you still had a bunch of the movie stars were still the talkie stars, right. And most of those people didn't have good voices. That's why it ruined a lot of their careers. People were like, they sound like that.
That's his voice.
It's like on radio, when you see see a person, you're like, oh, that's not how I picture. Right. That's the same thing with the talkies. Right. People had a voice in their head that they'd picture out of people, and they'd see a man, and he'd go, he's going to sound like this. Right. And then he'd come on, and he'd be like, hi, how you doing? I'm Whip Mulligan. And they're like, that doesn't work. That's not okay, Spud Murphy.
Sir. Your career's over.
Ridiculous. So Balough here, he wanted this car. They're building him a new car. He's so excited to build it. It wasn't getting done fast enough, so he moved in with Whip Mulligan to finish it.
He moved in, and he's like, I'll do it.
He moves into Whip's house to sleep on his couch to make the car go faster.
I got wrenches and shit. I'll come by.
I'll come by. That's this guy. He's very helpful. Yeah. Gary Balough, the most helpful crime and sports criminal we've had so far. He's excessively helpful. He's always up. If you're having a barbecue, this is the thing. He'll be like, you want me to go get some more charcoal? You don't need that? I get ice for you. I'll go out and get ice. He's that guy who's just willing to run to the store and grab something if you need it. He's like, I got my keys in my hand right now.
I'll
get
go right now.
No, I'll put my beer down. It's fine.
I only had like 6 or 8.
I had like 6 or 8. I'll go right down to the store there, get that. Ain't gonna be no thing at all. I'll tell you what. Why don't you send your kid with me? That way I won't fall asleep.
Right.
She can sit in the front seat, keep me distracted. Here, come on, Sonny. Let's get in the front seat.
He can beer me while I throw out the empties.
That's what people used to do back then. I better take my kid so I don't fall asleep. I'm shit-faced. He'll keep me awake. So...
You got to watch out for Laura Bush running stop signs, killing that kid.
That's every child has to worry about that, even now. So this car, he loved this car. Yeah. He said, quote, the first time I drove it at Hightstown, the car was going so good that I got over anxious and wrecked it. Hit the flag stand and the starter broke his leg. Oh, Jesus. He said, quote, I came in the pits with my head down, but Paul Hildebrand was elated. Don't worry, we can fix the car. We've never had a chance to beat Stan Plosky like that.
That's what the owner said to him.
Owner
Meanwhile,
said, don't worry
about it.
He
hit the stand where the guy that waves the flag and broke that fucking guy's leg.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck him.
He said, fuck the starter. You did. We're going to beat Stan Plosky. That guy's going to walk with a limp forever. That's fine. He'll never play outdoors with his children. Right. Fine. That's his fucking problem.
He knew the fucking hazards.
You
when
know
he
the
took
risks.
The job.
You know the risks. The important thing is Stan Plosky's going down. In Hightstown, in this fucking dirt track that no one knows a fucking thing about. We'll get Stan Plosky on the case, and he'll be all over that shit. So yeah, he was very excited. So also that Sunday, his third time they were driving a Gremlin, by the way, an AMC Gremlin,
the most piece of shit vehicle ever made.
Yes, apparently though, if you completely make it a different car, it's better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weird, right?
If a guy sleeps on a man named Whip's couch long enough, it makes Gremlins good cars. I don't know how that happens, but it does. He wins a 100-lap Syracuse qualifier at Nazareth. This is to qualify for the Syracuse race. Okay. He wins that in the Gremlin car.
If you don't know what a Gremlin is, and you have kids and you watched Cars, the lemons in that movie, those are fucking Gremlins.
Pile of shit.
Yeah.
It looks like it should be called a Gremlin. That's exactly. It looks like, and they had gremlins inside of them. I think that's why they called the movie Gremlins, because those were the things destroying the Gremlin.
It's essentially the Pinto of the AMC.
That's
version,
what it was, except it didn't explode quite as much, which is a positive. Actually. As much. So I'm not going to say it all. I don't know.
But look at that car.
How much credit am I going to give it?
There's not a lot of place you can put a gas tank on that vehicle.
No, it's a hunk of shit. Right. So this thing, personal life though isn't so easy. It seems like he got right into racing and jumped in with both feet. He kind of had to though, because his dad kicked him out of the house at 16 because all he wanted to do was do racing shit. Didn't care about school. Didn't care about any of that. So he kicks him out of the house at 16. So that was an issue. It was a cop. He's like, I ain't gonna have no son with sideburns down below where his ears start. I ain't gonna have that. You get them up above them eyebrows, boy. And he wouldn't, so he got kicked out of the house. It's very sad.
To Whip's house you go.
It's very, very sad. He had to move in with Whip. And who the fuck is a man named Whip who's having teenage boys stay at his house fixing cars? I don't know how.
Is that how old he is right now with Whip? He's 16?
He's like 16. He's like 18 by the time he gets to Whip. But he's still a kid. I mean, Whip doesn't sound like a young guy.
No.
Whip sounds like he's
been through the ringer.
He's got those fingers that are so stained with grease that they can't be cleaned.
No.
You'd have to basically take all of his layers of skin off down to the raw flesh.
Gross.
And it's probably still oily.
So much grease.
It's a lot of grease. So
I worked on cars with my uncle and my piece of shit stepfather for a long time, and that grease.
That's terrible.
Once
the worst.
Do brakes once and see how long your hands stay dirty.
My dad had the big tub of the goopy shit.
Yeah,
you just dip your hand
stuff,
in.
Yeah.
And move it around. It gets that shit off pretty decent.
Was it the white stuff that
It's
smelled
the white stuff. And it smells so good.
Really?
Oh,
my
it smells
God.
weird.
It smells like gasoline.
Exactly. It
Forever.
smells so great. I love that. I love the way gasoline smells. Oh, it smells awesome.
Your hand will smell like that for a week.
I used to touch things just so I could have to use that because it smelled so good. I was like, oh, it smells so good.
That's crazy.
And you know me, I don't like I don't like grease and shit.
Gross.
And so I would just touch, I got to use a bunch of that shit. And I get like a scoop, big handful. And I'd be like, what are you doing, goddammit? My dad's like a car guy. Yeah. So he's always working on something.
I liked it when it had when you had the scoop in it though. The big vat that was it looked like a toilet fucking what is that? Not toilet paper. The other paper.
Paper towel?
Paper towels.
Hey,
yes,
it
looked like that roll.
Yeah.
And then you just tip your hand in there and yank out a handful.
Yeah, my father, the big shop one that goes on the wall.
Yeah.
You screw it to the fucking wall.
Your dad stole that from somewhere probably.
Who knows?
Because that's what they always did.
He worked it.
Yeah.
He used to
mechanics
be a
always
mechanic
take it
at
home.
Some point, but did body work and shit back before I was born.
You take that shit home and put it in your garage because anytime you do the brakes, you can clean up real nice.
You can clean up real nice now. You put it on. You know what? Sometimes I just
put
take
a little
it
behind your ear.
I was going to say, I just take it sometimes, and you know how women use lotion?
Yeah.
And they put it all, I just put it all up and down my legs. I luxuriously spread my leg out, start from the ankle, pull it up. No, you got to rub it in now. You don't rinse lotion off. You rub it in until it's still moist, but you really smell like gasoline. Now, don't light a match now near you, because that's not going to be
No
good.
smoking for a few hours.
No smoking.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And now back to the show.
So he said that out of this whole era, he said his dad kicked him out, but he had all these people helping him, all these local Spud and Whip and Blackie and fucking the rest of the crew, the rest of the our gang people.
Tater running around
Spud,
somewhere.
Whip, Tater, fucking Jello Bean. He was there. I don't know why Jello Bean. Jello Bean, you know him, right? They got Jello Bean.
Somebody got real confused. They're like,
they got
Jello beans. I had some of those Jello beans. No, you mean jelly bean? No,
Jello Bean.
Don't correct
That's
me.
Right. Don't be
nothing.
correct. His name is Jello Bean from now on. A big stew.
Right.
It's just I don't know.
There's always
it's
a
just
big
stew. But Gary says, quote, "Guess I had all the superheroes helping me. They must have seen something in me that I didn't." So there you go. At 14, by the way, is when he met. It's when he meets his future wife Karen. They end up getting married when he's 19. Here in the mid 60s, he gets married. 1966, he marries Karen. So he's 19 years old, and he marries his I guess middle school sweetheart, for Christ's sake, barely even high school. So 1968 is when he wins the Florida Governor's Cup. That's 200. And he's 21 years old. Yeah. I don't think he turned 21 yet, but he's 20 years old, so still a young kid, very promising. 1975, he ends up going up to New Jersey. A guy named this is a guy named Dickie Anderson we're going to talk about too. So Dickie, Whip, Blackie, Spud. These are adding up fucking fast here.
This is depressing.
He said, this is crazy.
It's surprising that a man who's surrounded by such weird fucking named people is gonna eventually break the law.
He's gonna break the law. Oh yeah. He's gonna break the law. He's gonna be very stupid about it too.
Of course.
He's one of these guys that for some reason, you tend to believe him when he fucks up. And he's like, I don't know what I was thinking, and kind of a wrong place, wrong time, bad decision. Yeah. I'm an idiot type of thing. You think like, oh, you know what? He fucked up, and he learned his lesson, and he's going to turn it around, and then he just doesn't. Mm-hmm. But you think he's going to, and all indications are, and everything he says is all good and all correct, and he doesn't say shit that makes you go, oh Christ, he just doesn't get it. Everything he says, you go, good, he gets it. He fucking gets it. And then you go, well, why did he do that again? He doesn't get it at all. He doesn't even come close to getting it. He doesn't understand anything. Okay. He doesn't understand why he was in prison before, obviously, the fucking moron. So anyway, there was a new team owners, Tony and Ronnie Ferraiuolo, which is Ferraiuolo. That's an Italian fucking name right there. That's worse than mine. That is way too many vowels in a row. I'm sorry. A-I-O-U-O. That you can't have all the vowels in a row.
That doesn't make any sense. You can't pronounce that.
No, no one can. He said this Tony of the group here, the Tony F, we'll call him. He said, quote, my brother and I flew to Florida to hire driver Dickie Anderson, but Gary picked us up at the airport. Whip worked on our cars, and I think he had something to do with that. Anyway, when Gary found out we were going to hire Dickie, he jammed on the brakes, leaned over, and said, no, you're going to hire me. So now he's got him hostage in a car that he's jamming on brakes.
And he's about to show him why they got to hire him.
Otherwise, I'm going to gun it into that brick wall. One of the two things are going to happen now. So now he's got this car. He's got Whip's ride, and he's driving, and they end up being a good team altogether with these owners. They win the 1976 Schaefer 100 in Syracuse, which is obviously the most prestigious thing. Sure. I know as a child, Jimmy, I don't know about you personally, but for myself, posters on my wall as a child were all of the Schaefer 100 at Syracuse.
The starting line.
All of them. Well, the starting line. Then I had I had winners each one every year. Like, in school you have the presidents all up on the wall. I don't know about other countries if you have prime ministers or kings and queens or whatever, but
or just Nelson Mandela.
Just Nelson Mandela. But they just had, all the presidents on the wall. I had all the Schaefer 100 Syracuse winners up on my wall, and it was inspirational to me, and that's why I'm sitting here in this chair today, Jimmy. So don't you dare fucking say a word about the 1976 Schaefer 100 from Syracuse, because I'm going to go ahead and slap you down.
It's only 100, by the way.
It's 100.
That's not.
That's all you need.
It's not so hard.
How many
to win.
fucking laps do you need? Yeah. It's 100. You drive around 100 times, you're done. It's an even number.
Is it 100 laps or 100 miles?
I think it's 100 laps.
Probably,
because it's probably a mile lap. But no, because it'll be 3/4. Oh, it's laps. It's fucking laps. Right. I'm going to say it's laps. I don't care if it's fucking miles.
It's probably 5 mile laps.
It's either that or they're 5 mile. They're all 5 mile laps now.
500 miles.
What if they were only like 0.2 mile laps? Right. It was just very short. It's like a 20-mile race. It's a very short race. It's like 15 minutes long.
So how long it takes to just go get gas. If you drink a beer watching that race, by the time you're done with that beer, that race over.
What if it's just 5 guys racing home from work? What if it's just that? Clear the road.
That would be great. I'd watch that.
I'd watch that too. I'd be like, oh man, that guy had a bad day.
It wouldn't take all fucking day.
Oh, he didn't stop fully for that light before he made the right hand turn. So 1976, he wins the Syracuse 200. And this is like the huge deal in dirt racing, apparently. This is like, they call this the crown jewel of Super Dirt Week.
Syracuse.
The Syracuse race. It's now called the Eckerd 200 after the drugstore chain is the sponsor now. But back then, just Syracuse. No sponsor. The fucking city. The raw shithole known as Syracuse from the Finger Lakes of Western New York. 5 feet of snow is the Syracuse dump. dump. So
now it's where you buy your preparation H.
That's it, right there. And I'm gonna give you a hint. You know, they have like I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a guess. You know, like if you win the Masters in golf, you get the green jacket, shit like that. What do you think you get if you win the Syracuse 200? Keep in mind the crown jewel of the Super Dirt Week.
It's got to be the rusty hubcap.
You don't. It's an article of.
Oh, an article of clothing.
It's something to wear. We'll just say that.
Is it an ascot?
No, it is close.
Is a bolo tie?
It is a flower garland. Why would you get that? Why would you get a lay? That's what they give you, a lay, when you win in Syracuse.
Congratulations on being a man. Now here, pussy.
Congratulations on being nowhere near where people wear these. Enjoy. You're about 6,000 miles away from where this is real relevant.
And a whole continent.
By the way, we're in Syracuse, which is terrible, and then these come from a real nice place. So this is to let you know exactly how bad of a place you're in, which is not.
You know how you didn't see any flowers around here?
Yeah.
Not near anywhere.
Anywhere. Now, by the way, I don't want to hear
necklace of them.
I don't want to hear shit from Western New York for this. Go fuck yourself. I am from New York, and Western New York is terrible. I'm sorry. It's awful. Don't say, it's beautiful out there. It's awful. Feet of snow. It's terrible.
Overnight, too.
The only reason it exists was because there had to be an Erie Canal, number one.
Or a place where the poor people in New York had to live.
The fucking canal. No, the canal, and there's college towns everywhere. Without those college kids, you wouldn't exist. Get the fuck out of there. Everything west of the Hudson is West Virginia, New York. I'm sorry. So I don't know who people think you are. So he wins in 76, the Syracuse 200. 77, he wins it again.
Wow.
So now he's the double.
Back to back.
Two flower garlands, as they call it back then. I like how they didn't even use lay. They put flower garland, which it's an article from 76. So people in 76 probably didn't know what a lay was. Probably. They weren't as, I don't know, even cultured to that much. 1977, he wins the Eastern States 200, which he leads from flag to flag. So he's
start to finish,
never loses the race. He's the only driver in that race's history to do that.
Wow.
To lead from bell to bell.
That's pretty impressive no matter what race you run.
That's incredible. Yeah. I mean, just to start out ahead, you don't even start out like, I'll catch up.
Well, that means he had to qualify to get the pole position.
And then never give it up.
From there on, just fucking
always be in the lead. That's crazy. That is impressive. Yeah. That is very impressive. So he does that.
I've never done that in any sport I've ever played.
No.
Been ahead and never lost.
Never lost. So think about it in a basketball game. Yeah. The first team scores 2-0 and then never loses the lead. That would be weird.
That means that they would scare four. They scored twice, 4-0, and then because the other team could get 2 points.
Well, I mean, they don't. That's what I mean. But after that first basket, that's it.
That's it.
Well, also, that's probably happened before. You see teams go on like an 8-2 run and then they never give up the lead. They're up by 12 the whole game, but whatever.
Those are fun to watch.
It's a bad analogy. Sorry.
Those are exciting games to watch. Congratulations, Steph Curry, on all your success.
Yeah, very exciting, isn't it? Very exciting. I love watching shooting exhibitions. Those are
I love
very
watching
fun.
The half-court
shot. Oh, there he goes again. That's great.
Because
everyone knows in All-Star Weekend, the most popular event is the three-point shooting contest. Because we all watches that. Nobody watches dunks.
Ever.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see exciting feats of physical ability. I want to see
you throw the ball with laser ability from
see
fucking the other end of the court.
A less than the tallest man on the floor shoot from far away.
I've seen that enough in Dude Perfect. It's
annoying. So anyway, something interesting happens in 1977.
Yeah.
They end up, there's a race here, and basically Gary causes a bit of a riot. It's hard for me to follow these race things, but he was side by side with another racer, Riedemann. He's side by side with this Riedemann, and I guess Gary worked his way past this guy and behind a guy named Bob Malzahn.
Okay.
He trails Malzahn for a few laps and couldn't get by him. Finally, halfway through this event, Gary pulls up along this Malzahn, and he kind of hits him wheel to wheel, kind of on purpose, and it ends up they end up touching, and Malzahn spins out.
Okay.
But Balough ends up taking the lead from there, and so Malzahn freaks out. He's all pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
He catches up to Balough and to Gary, and both these cars keep going. Anyway, apparently the crowd and the the pit guys and everybody started surging onto the track.
Oh my God.
It's a thing from this article. It says a large crowd surged onto the track from the pits, gesticulating, shouting, and threatening Balough.
What are you gonna? He's got a car.
Just like the onlookers started rushing him. Like,
ask Tony Stewart about that.
They had
don't go on the
pitchforks and shit.
Idiots.
Well, this isn't like a real. This is like a dirt track somewhere.
Yeah,
this
but
isn't.
that's what,
still though.
That's what Tony Stewart was racing when he ran that guy over.
This is crazy. So crazy. So the guy. So they end up slowing the cars down and basically made it so these cars kind of blocked off these people. Like, because the other racers were like, well, we can't have all these people fucking rushing on the track. Right. I know that guy's pissed, but anyway, what they said is they had to do this because if they stopped the race, they were afraid that Gary's personal safety would have been in jeopardy because they thought the crowd was going to basically
get out of the car,
pull him out of his car and murder him. That's what they thought. So they said, we need to keep him in his car and moving because then they can't kill him. Right. He can at least gun it at that point. But if he has to get out, this is going to get ugly.
Oh, boy.
Not only is the other racer going to attack him, but then his pit crew and everybody from this. That's nuts, though. Who was that mad at a race? If you saw that, you'd be like, wow. You wouldn't be like, I'm going to kick that guy's ass.
You'd be surprised. It happens every goddamn race. Granted,
fucking hillbillies.
The crowd rarely runs out onto the field or onto the infield or onto the track at all, but it's the fucking racers, the drivers fight constantly. They're always chasing each
fighting.
other. In the
Which
pits.
that you would expect.
Yeah.
I mean, there's goddamn road rage when you're driving 40 miles an hour and no one's even in competition.
But the people in the stands take ownership of that driver.
Oh, they do.
It's bananas how much they would take up for these
people. It's like you're that excited about Cheerios or Skol or Tide or whatever the fuck that sponsor is because that's the only reason there's a goddamn car. That's why it's got a giant one.
A part of your life.
Exactly. It must be a huge part. You're really into it. So 1978, he wins the Syracuse 200 again. Yeah. So he's the king of the dirt at this point.
No doubt.
By the end of his career total, he is said to have won over 1,000 dirt track races.
Wow.
And he's kind of like the dirt track king, legend of the dirt track, best dirt track racer kind of going. 1979, he hits the big time. Well, he doesn't hit the big time, but he sidles up to the big time.
Okay.
Put it that way. He gets on next to it. He can smell the big time's cologne wafting toward him. He has his first NASCAR race. So now he's getting out of the dirt, getting out of guys named Whip and Skip and Blackie and Spud and all this shit.
Racing with people like Big Trickle.
I was going to say guys who have redneck names, but they're their real names. Okay. They're not nicknames. People like that. He runs the Daytona 500 in '79. It's his first race. It is won by Richard Petty that year.
That's a real racer.
That's a real racer. Darrell Waltrip, number 2. A.J. Foyt, number 3. Donnie Allison, number 4.
He was in this race.
Yeah. Cale Yarborough, number 5. The first 5 guys I've actually heard of. I know shit about racing.
Those are great race car
those are all very famous people. Yeah. Tig Scott, that's where it ends. I don't know him at all.
Done deal.
But Cuckoo Marlin.
I think
Cuckoo.
Marlin?
Coocoo Marlin. Huh. Cuckoo. Dale Earnhardt was number 8 in that race.
Sterling's dad or something, right?
I guess. I have no idea. Bobby Allison, Terry Labonte. I've heard of these guys. So I've heard of a lot of these guys. So these are all kind of the Ricky Rudd. I know I've heard of that. Jeffrey Bodine, which sounds like a hillbilly. Definitely sounds like a fucking hillbilly. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm on board.
Jeffrey Bodine?
Yeah.
I'm going to name...
It's the first name off.
Jimmy, have another son so you can name him Jeffrey Bodine. Jeffrey Bodine.
Wisman.
You got to do it that way. You now have to pronounce your name Wisman.
Wasn't that Jethro's last name, Bodine?
I believe it was. And his name's Jeffrey, which is close.
And they did that shit on purpose.
I think they did, probably. So number 5, he comes in 35th, Gary Balough, out of 35 out of 41.
In a race that has Richard fucking Petty.
That's the winner. So these are a lot of famous, and these are experienced NASCAR drivers, and he hasn't raced NASCAR. So to be expected. Lucky he didn't come in last place. He races 3 races in NASCAR in 1979. He leads for 0 laps. Yeah. He doesn't ever get toward the lead. He does they have his earnings here, his NASCAR earnings.
$100,000?
Oh no, I never know his dirt track earnings, but I always find out his NASCAR earnings. I have every
That's
NASCAR
all
race.
reported by the IRS.
Exactly. The other ones, the dirt track ones, I really feel like that's like some cash and like a box of groceries, like it's the Depression.
There's no reason to this off his taxes.
There's cheese that doesn't need to be refrigerated, really, and like all sorts of weird shit. They give you
fish and shit.
They call it rations. Here's your money, you box of rations. That's what you win for winning the race. It's like, gee, thanks.
Yeah.
And a $20 Shell gas card.
Right.
And you're like, I haven't seen a Shell, and they still have Shells.
There's a Unocal down the road. I think
get me
it's
a
good
Chevron.
there.
There's a lot of Chevrons everywhere. Can you get me one of those? Fuck, man, bullshit. So he makes $6,015
for 3 races.
3 races
In what year? 1979. That's pretty good.
That's very little though in terms of what it costs to.
Yeah.
That's not just what he makes. That's what.
Winnings
that's
for his
winnings.
team.
So
holy shit,
he makes half of that.
Nothing.
And so and the team loses their ass because they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably $50,000-$60,000 to put a car out there, and they're paying him money too. I assume they pay him a salary. They can't have some homeless guy racing. Guys, I can't make it today. I'm homeless.
Right.
I have nobody to watch all my stuff. I can't just bring it all to the racetrack. They can't be like, fuck, Gary's homeless again.
You can't drag this cart behind the car.
Yeah, got to get him a 1-bedroom apartment at least if he's going to, or at least Whip's couch, something. Whip's couch. So February 1980, Gary is in a crash. A pretty bad crash. On the track at the new Smyrna Speedway. Okay. He breaks, this is a bad crash. He broke the 3rd and 4th vertebrae in his neck.
Oh my God.
So that is fucking rough.
That's horrible.
And he
horrible. Broke it.
Broke his 3rd and 4th vertebrae in his neck in a crash. I'm sure that's terrible. Yeah. That sounds awful. Sounds like something that you would be
laid up for a while,
and also maybe be leery of racing and of just
going too fast.
This is like baseball. If you get hit in the head with a fastball, you're probably going to be a little skittish when when that breaking ball is that going to break or what? Oh no, it's going to.
As soon as your catcher goes, give him the heater, you're like, no heaters,
no heater. This guy though, after breaking,
wouldn't you do that if somebody took a beanball to the head and it was a fastball? Wouldn't you, as the catcher, scream that when he comes up? Let's throw him the hater.
Let's brush him back a little.
Right.
We're going to brush him back.
Chin music.
Come on now. That's what you'd want to do.
You just scream, hey, DJ, fire up that chin music. I'd scream it every time.
You wouldn't. The guy would be jumping out of the way. I would. Yeah, that would be. The worst is because it batters. I don't know. Like I just remember playing baseball and whatever. You get hit by pitches and it happens. I mean, nobody. You don't want to get hit
on purpose.
Nobody wants to get hit in the face, really, but you don't I don't know. It's a baseball. Right. It's fine. But like the worst are the ones where the pitcher gets hit with a comebacker in the head. Those are the scariest because they're like batting. You have a bat and a helmet, and you can duck your head.
And you're prepared for it.
You're prepared. You're pitchers and not in a position to protect their head at all. And
they're just in the motion of like the follow through of the ball going out.
They're in a pose to would be like the best pose possible to hit a guy in the forehead with a baseball. Like they're just, here I am, just squared up with you, looking right square. Boom, nail me. I'm on
one arm almost completely out, the other across his chest.
That's it. That's what you got. Just right there. That would scare the shit out of me and make me not want to pitch it. Every pitch I'd be like, oh Jesus, this is terrible.
You pitch and then you just throw your mitt in front of your face.
That's it. That'd be the way I would pitch. It would never come out from in front of my face. I'd be the phantom of the pitcher's mound. I'd just always be covering.
Just in case, coach.
Yeah, it'd be like, look like Andy Pettit, but then never stop doing that. Just keep that in my wind-up the whole time. But this crazy bastard, Gary, these guys aren't built like that, though. These adrenaline junkie type race car driver. No, 4 months later, he goes back to that track and establishes the track record.
Wow.
4 months later, not only is he
it's still broke, by
walking,
the way. Right? 2 vertebrae still broke.
Not only is he doing that, but he's in a car again, going back to that same track and going, my problem, I didn't drive fast enough. That's why I broke my neck. I really, you got to pin it.
He hit me because we were too close together.
Let me give it the old hot shoe. There we go. Which hot shoe to me just sounds like a roofer.
It does.
That's what I would call a roofer. What's up there, hot shoe?
Sounds like a tool for roofing.
Yeah. This is the old hot shoe. You got a hot mop and a hot shoe. So
we're going to cut into the profits this month on account of I got to buy some new hot shoes.
I got to get new hot shoes. He says let's do it in their own words because this is a real in their own words type of moment here. He says in their own words, quote, I just had to go out and prove to everybody that you can break your neck and it doesn't make a bit of difference. You can still come back and get the job done.
Who wants that proven to them? Who's saying
that's been a big point of contention forever. People have been sitting back in NASCAR for 100 years. I mean, since the moon moonshining days are like. I bet. I'm just saying, I bet you if you broke your third and fourth vertebrae, you'd be a pussy and wouldn't get back in the car.
Never do it no more.
You ain't gonna do nothing. It's gonna make a big difference. And
It'll
he said,
slow you the fuck
not
down.
a bit of difference,
Nothing.
goddammit. I'll pin
Matter
it.
of fact, it improved me.
It improved me, made me a better person,
I'm
better
faster.
person. So very fast.
I have the track record now.
That's right. I was.
That's amazing.
Mediocre. Now I'm the man.
Now I'm the best.
1980, he wins.
Are they sure he wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider? That could have happened.
That
too.
would have been amazing. Now, if this episode took a turn in the middle, where he's racing, he's doing all this shit, and then literally I'm like, he does this amazing thing, and I go, the reason he did that is just after his last race, he was in fact in his basement rummaging through some things to find a tool that he needed. He was in fact bitten by a radioactive spider, giving him superpowers, and now he's much better off. That would be an amazing turn.
For that.
That would be an amazing
He's a lucky
turn.
man.
That's amazing.
But what happened is that he got a new helmet shipped in from
That's
Brazil.
what happens, yeah.
And one of those radioactive spiders hung in the
like arachnophobia. It got right in the crate.
helmet.
Yeah.
And then he put the helmet on, and it took a sample.
And then he won every race for the rest of his career. It was incredible.
Just the winner.
He didn't even drive on the track. He floated over it. He flew his car, and it glowed green. So, 1980, he wins the Syracuse 200 again.
Yeah.
This is where he kind of cements his legend, though, because the way he does it is the most stylish way you can do some shit. He shows up in a car that will be forever dubbed as the Batmobile.
Oh, boy.
And it is it's in museums, and it's in a museum, and it's very well known. They put it on tour to go. People want to look at it. It's fucking amazing.
What
this car
is it?
It's a Lincoln, like the Batmobile was, but completely just redone, and in a way where everyone was like, that's not legal, right? The fucking car can't be legal. Like, they were lapping people, and they just found loopholes in the rules, and this was before. Right now in NASCAR, it's basically all exactly the same because everyone has the same exact car. You can't do anything different because the rules are so fucking specific of exactly what you can do and what you can't do.
And the body's not even a body. It's a plastic shell that vaguely resembles a car that's on the road today.
Sort of. It's got the headlight structure. Basically, you can say,
and that's just stickers anyway.
It's all it is. But this, it doesn't have headlights in there. But this here, like, it's going to be dark on the track. Put the high beams in. They might be dark on the
racing the knot track. But it's got lights on the track.
Not in part. There's the west side of the track's pretty dim. I got to be honest. It's dark. You watch out, 2 kids play ball down there. So if one rolls in the road, you're going to have to swerve out of the way. I would just slow down to about 35 miles an hour when you come around that corner.
I want halogens. I don't want the technology of the lights of the stadium.
That's amazing. But back then there was rules still, but they were a little bit looser. And if you wanted to be smart about it and really kind of think outside the box, you could go around these rules. Yeah, they're saying that there was supposedly a Lincoln. They don't know for sure, but that's what they said. They said it was a Lincoln, but it humiliated people. I mean, people were like, people were mad at him for this car. That's how great of a car it was. Car builder Kenny Weld and him did it. What a great name for a guy who builds cars. Kenny Weld. Yeah, that's beautiful. So the officials, the race officials, they tried to disqualify them with this car. They're like, there's no way this car is legal. And then at the end, after, inspecting the whole thing, going over it, they finally said, well, they interpreted the rules creatively and built a legal car. It's legal. So they couldn't use, I guess, wing tops for downforce, it says. Top wings for downforce in this. The sprint car. They weren't allowed to use sprint car like top wings for downforce.
That goes on the top of the vehicle.
Yeah, I had to write that down exactly because I don't know shit about this.
It's that on a sprint car, that fin on top of it's angled?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's for downforce. That makes sense. Okay, so Weld and Balough here, they put a giant flat roof on the car. Okay. So instead of it having a wing, it had a flat roof and angled it forward like a wing.
Oh, smart.
So they made the whole roof a wing.
Car.
Yeah, it's the roof of the car. You can't say shit like that. And they put these big air tunnels on the sides of the body with inlets that he could control from inside of the car. So that's how he knew, like, I need air here, I need less air there. Yeah. Like, while he was driving, he was controlling these air flaps and shit like that. It's fucking awesome. That's what I mean. They got crazy about it. It's black too, this car. It looks mean as fuck. It's number 112. It's the number 112 car, which is weird.
Where players dwell.
It's awesome. Very, very nice. So people just bitched about this, and people complained. Also, people complained that it cost too much. They were saying that people were like, he's spending too much and it's not fair. Like, it's not fair that they have a good car. My car's shit and theirs is better. They said he admitted that the car cost between $25,000 and $30,000 to build, which I guess was too much for back then.
Not that much.
It doesn't. Yeah,
but back then you could buy a car for $6,000.
That's true. Yeah, it's about $90,000 in today's money. They were saying. So that's whatever.
It's fair.
These
cars today are like $200,000 or $300,000.
That's what I mean. They're more. They're like race cars. They're like jets. These things.
That's probably what the motor's worth.
But it took them a month and a half of 14-hour days to build the car.
Jesus.
And that's not including all of the research and the study. And they did. I mean, they got scientific
engineering and design,
and they got scientific about it. They weren't fucking around here. They had their sponsors were Booth's Towing and Kansas City's Lakeside Speedway. Those are their sponsors, so not exactly Cheerios.
No,
not quite. This is his first place win here. Earned the team $26,557. Not too shabby.
That's not even a whole car.
Not even a whole car, but they can use the car again. So right now he is like this well-known dirt track cult hero, driving the Batmobile, being the best there is. Grace. Let's just say that's grace. This is grace. And he hasn't even gotten to the peak of his career, but grace. Because the peak of his career, it
intertwined with crime?
It rubs up so closely to the crime, like within a day, that it's like you have to just go, no, this is, you just have to here.
It's back here.
It's back there. 1980, December 8th, 1980 is the Snowball Derby.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, baby. The Snowball Derby, Jimmy, in case you didn't know, is a 300-lap super late model stock car automobile race held annually at the half-mile Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. Wow.
Where there's no snowballs.
Where there's no snow, but it's December 8th they hold it. So I guess that's why they say that. So that's a 300 lap. It's a 300 lap half mile. So it's a 150-mile race. What we're getting at here, they've held it every year since 1968, and apparently it's a big goddamn deal. It was the 2009 event was won by Kyle Busch. And Steve Wallace was in it. Chase Elliott, a bunch of NASCAR guys that I had never heard of were in it. As a result, they moved. They moved an event to make sure that the drivers got to participate in the Snowball Derby because this is like a big deal that the drivers like to do. Apparently,
sounds fun.
It's interesting here. But Gary Balough here, 1980, he fucking crushes it. He was like the Snowball Derby man here. He wins the Winston Snowball Derby. That's what it was back then. This was the 13th one at that. His average speed was 66.772 miles an hour.
I think that's fast.
That's not bad. He won it in a Camaro. The race, there was 6,500 people came to watch that.
Wow.
That's
6,500 people crammed around that fucking track.
That's it. That's a lot for this race. He said, quote, Gary said, all year we've either won, broke, or crashed. Okay. Today, he said, quote, the car worked real good and the car never gave up. People say I drove the car too hard, but I don't think that's the case. Sometimes it's just bad luck when you crash. Because other people crashed a lot apparently here. Below from this whole thing, he wins. By the way, Mark Martin was also in this race, who I know is I think he was third. Now Balough here, he wins $5,310 total here. $1,310 of it was lap money for leading 111 of 203 laps.
That's right.
That's not bad. It's not too shabby here. He had, I guess, his right front tire was going flat, and it caused him to swerve and almost spin on the back stretch. So he went high on the bank and regained control. He ends up losing a few hundred yards because he couldn't go as fast because his tire was going flat. He said, quote, the tire was going flat. I was going to come in, but I saw him pick up the flag and I had to go for it. I thought I was going to lose the race when it happened. So there
because
you go.
Tire goes
Because your
flat
tire
and you're
goes flat. But he wins the race with a flattening tire, which isn't too shabby at all. Not too bad. Everybody was happy here. Dick Trickle was also in the race. He was in third place, Dick Trickle. He had an identical flat tire. There we go. So that's hilarious. Dick Trickle was it. So we've had Dick Trickle, Whip, Spud, Blackie.
Every goddamn horrible name.
Now, quite the fucking the crew here. But there's an article that I love here, by the way, from here. They talk about this Snowball Derby and how he wins. And then there's a separate article in the same paper. This is from the Pensacola Journal, I believe. Who cares? Some paper that's probably out of business now. But the title of the thing is, quote, "Air of sophistication looms about Balough."
Okay.
Air of sophistication looms about Balough. And they say, I'll just read you some of this article. Quote, "Somehow Gary Balough just doesn't seem to fit in with the crowd that makes up the scene for the Winston Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola. Doesn't seem to fit in with these people. Balough, 33, a native of Hialeah, has a confident, sophisticated air about him. He seems like he'd be more at ease in a gray flanneled suit on Wall Street instead of wearing the uniform of a stock car driver, covered with grease and the smell of gasoline. Balough appears to be the type who should be driving turbocharged Porsche 927s through the streets of Le Mans instead of making 203 circles around a half-mile high-banked asphalt track in a Camaro. He just doesn't have the good old boy image that stock car drivers are supposed to possess."
He's not white trash.
Yeah, they say it's not that Gary Balough is cocky or snobbish. It's just that he seems out of place behind the wheel of a stock car. Maybe that's the reason why Balough seems aloof to his fellow drivers. Okay.
So it's a fish out of water
He's
story.
He's a fish out of water story. Yeah, he says, quote, "I felt from the very start there was no way anybody was going to beat me today on Sunday." And they say maybe that's why. Maybe his cocky attitude is why they do it. He says, quote, "When you win the pole position, that's 50% of the battle right there. That means you've got the best car. That means you should win the race." I know what everybody was saying after I won the pole position with that quick time. They were saying it was just a matter of time. I wouldn't last. The car would break down. All that kind of stuff. They were just waiting for me to fall out. Let me tell you something. Now, he sounds pretty fucking rednecky to me. Let me tell you something. That car could have run all day, and so could I. The car never gave up, and neither did I. He sounds like a wrestling promo.
It's because he said that car could have run instead of that car could have ran.
And also, they were just waiting for me to fall out.
Right.
That just made me. And let me tell you something. Whenever it's a let me tell you something.
Instead of what?
Instead of, well, okay, I guess, go ahead. Then they said, maybe that's what makes Gary seem aloof. Maybe Gary has some class about him the other drivers don't have. Or maybe it's because Gary Balough is a city boy competing in a country boy's sport. Maybe he's just a little less rednecky than the other guys, but he's still pretty fucking rednecky. Calm down about the air of sophistication.
He's still driving a fucking car.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. He said that he planned on retiring by the age of 30 with racing. But now he's 33.
And then he realized there's no fucking money in this.
And he realized he's making $6,000 a year. He said this isn't going to work.
He's like an open mic comic that's like, in 5 years, I'm going to retire.
Fucking retiring. Yeah. He said, quote, "However, when I got to be 30, I realized I couldn't retire. By that time, I was getting better as a driver." By the way, at this point in his career, he had won more than 300 races. He says he has 2 or 3 things working which could put together a deal to get him to NASCAR the next year.
He's exactly like an open mic comic.
He's an open mic. I got a couple of things cooking. I know a guy that I met.
Just for laughs next year.
I met this guy that said that he can get me on a showcase if I drive 12 hours on my own dime.
And stay at a friend's house.
He can get me on a showcase, a 5-minute guest spot.
And there might be a booker there.
I heard that that one booker from a place that I'm not even from, where it would cost me money to go perform, I heard he might be there. So if he sees me, and he might think of me if I email him later, he might remember me.
I might email him incessantly for the next 5 years.
Oh, he won't email me. No, he won't say like, "You're great, I want to book you." I'll have to bother him constantly. Yeah, that's kind of what it is for this guy.
To get him to stop me from emailing, he's going to have to send a very strongly worded email about how he was with his family when I emailed him last time.
Exactly. That's hilarious. When I called and texted and emailed him.
And he emailed me back and said, "How did you get my number?"
So 1980, he reaches his goal of driving in NASCAR.
Yeah.
He's a NASCAR race here. He's got some things cooking. He's in one race that year. One race, NASCAR, 1980. He makes $610.
The big time.
Yes, $610 he makes in NASCAR that year. So you can file that away.
But if you move to Cambodia, that's like 7 years' salary.
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah. In Bangladesh,
Killing it.
You're a factory owner.
You're the king.
You have hundreds of children working under you. Hundreds. It's phenomenal.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder. Follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just here to tell you a little bit about a podcast that's new to Podcast One, Sportsnet, Baseball and Chill, and also the Big 12 podcast. Listen each week to Kelly Nash and Scott Braum from the MLB Network as they cover all the big storylines and trending topics on and off the diamond on Baseball and Chill. Then jump over to the Big 12 podcast and listen to Chuck Cooperstein each week as he checks in with Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby and other guests to go over the best highlights and look ahead to the biggest events in the conference. Listen free to both of these shows exclusively on Apple Podcasts, PodcastOneSports.com, and the Podcast One app. If you love the show, make sure to share it with a friend and leave a rating and review.
Yeah. And now back to the show.
So, 1981, he wins the Miller High Life 300.
There you go.
That's a classy event right there. Nothing sounds classy.
You get 300 cans of Miller High Life.
That's what you get. Enjoy. Not even bottles, cans.
No, cans.
And they've been sitting out in the sun. They're a little warm, so good luck.
They've been sitting in the winter circle all day.
That's how it works. They just no refrigeration. Not even ice. Not even a cooler. Not even a tub filled with ice.
Cardboard boxes.
Here you go.
There you
Clink,
go.
and they put them
10
in front.
cases.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
You want to drink them now? You can crack one now. It's funny too. After these races, they show pictures of a lot of them that he won. He's got a can of Schaefer in his hand after a race, and I'm like, "That's what you want after you drive 150 miles? A can of Schaefer? It's terrible." He runs 10 NASCAR races in 1981. It's a little more. His best finish was 10th. He finishes 10th at Richmond. Okay. He leads one lap that year.
A whole lap.
He actually leads a lap. He leads one lap in Talladega.
Wow.
One lap and then crashes, but he leads one lap in Talladega. So
but if it weren't for that crash, maybe
you never know.
Won.
And that's the thing too. That's the other thing they say is they say about this guy, he's a guy that could have done it. They're all like, he could have gone all the way. He could have been the man, except something is about to happen that prevents that. So he does make.
If your aunt had balls, right?
That's it, exactly. My aunt had balls. She'd be my uncle. So
it's the funniest goddamn thing I've ever heard.
It's
in
the
my
most
life.
old timey.
I've never heard it. It's fucking amazing.
So old timey. It's like an old timey black woman thing to say. I think it's like a old black church woman would say that, and you'd be like, "Damn, Velma's getting fucking raw." She'd be like, that's right. And you'd be like, yeah, she's fucking around. She didn't take any shit.
Did Aunt Hattie really say that shit?
Yeah. So he makes $34,430 in NASCAR in 1981. So that's better.
That's good money.
That's getting there. 1982, he comes in 11th in Daytona, which isn't bad at all. He makes $18,555
for that race.
For coming in there. They talk about this actually here, that the people who race without a sponsor is like impossible. They're basically talking about these teams that race like race to race, basically, the paycheck to paycheck. They're living trying to get new influx of cash every race to keep it going.
They're like Happy Gilmore with golf minus the big paydays, because his checks were huge.
That's what I mean. But there's no paydays here. The one driver, who they won't say who, an anonymous driver from this time, says that he maintains his own shop and builds his own cars. He says that every driver competing in the race needs to come away with no less than $15,000 to break even, basically, just to run this race. They said the last place finishers cut at Daytona is less than $2,000 back then. So they're like, if you come in last, you lost your ass.
You can't make it to the next race.
Yeah, you lost your ass. You're going to need to borrow money and do all that shit. So February 18th, 1982, he's doing well. It looks like he's finally going to be, more of a NASCAR driver and make a little more money, and that's still better than what he was making, He the RAHMOC team.
I don't know.
Ramic team. They said they had enough sponsorship from Domino's Pizza that year, the team he races for, to be able to run at least 25 races.
Okay.
So they were sponsored out for 25 races with Gary as the driver. Everything's going fantastically.
Yeah.
And then February 18th, 1982 comes around. This is a day they call in racing Black Thursday.
Okay.
This is not good.
And it's not a race thing.
This is not a race thing.
In that fucking sport.
This is front page headlines across the nation of every single newspaper. Quote, racers are ringleaders in drug ring, FBI says. This is not great. This is bad for everybody.
That's brilliant.
Gary is one of these people who's in this, and this just happens. We know this. This is
brilliant.
What they did,
They're
smuggling
going across the country.
Especially Florida guys, and that's the thing they were doing, is a lot of times they were actually packing the weed into this was they were packing the weed into the actual race cars themselves, because they were like, that's not going to get searched, and that's how they were transporting the shit and all the equipment. So they were driving all around. They would take, because all these guys are Florida guys, they would take it in Florida, pack it in their race shit, and go on the road with it. It's fucking insane. It's crazy. They said that, quote, 5 prominent members of South Florida's auto racing community, including NASCAR Winston Cup driver Gary Balough, were indicted on drug trafficking charges. They were 5 among 66 people charged in what FBI agents described as a multi-million-dollar drug ring stretching from Florida to North Carolina.
Wow.
Stretching from the south to the south.
Yeah. Stretching 3 states.
Yeah, they said that this was like a probably about $300 million deal total. They were saying they were importing quite a bit.
That's how he's making money.
That's how all of these places are staying in business. That's it. Otherwise they're not. And that's what we saw with Randy Lanier, with Ben Kramer, with Don Aronow. That was the big boat maker who did all that shit, who was like best friends with fucking George Bush when he was head of the CIA and vice president, but he was also running a fuckload of drugs with the mob. I was reading this one mob book where they were talking about Aronow, and this mob guy was really good friends with him, and they were building it was the Cocaine Cowboys guy, John Roberts. The Aronow guy was helping build them fucking boats,
speedboats,
to smuggle drugs, and they were also had a contract to build boats for the federal government to chase them. And what they would do is they'd always make sure that the federal boats were a little slower. That's what they do. And that was literally what they would do. And George Bush is his best friend. Fucking hilarious. So this whole thing, it's all intertwined here. The indictments came down about a month before that, and this is when or a week before that, this is when all the arrests are made. The other racing figures are Billy Harvey, Bruce Pee Wee Griffin, Herbert Tillman, and Pete Pistone, who was the guy who originally helped him out. So that's like his, it's his his crew, basically. I didn't hear Spud or Blackie or Whip in there, but you never know.
He picked the guys without the hillbilly names. Those guys were all too busy raiding farms.
Well, that's the thing. That's how it goes here.
But we ain't going to smuggle drugs. Do you know how lucrative it is to steal corn? Do you have any idea?
I will strip them stalks bare before I'll import drugs.
You go to the store and you think it's super cheap to get them, but if you have a shitload of them,
I'll tell you what,
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It adds up.
You need trucks, but once you get the trucks, then you can make money.
Sure, they are $2 for 7,000 of them, but if you have 20,000 of them. Well, my math ain't really making a convincing argument.
I'm a driver, mainly. I don't really do much math.
It's mostly delivery.
I do know that corn is expensive.
Right.
That's what I do know. This is a long federal probe.
There's not a lot of profit margin if
tough.
You grow it and then sell it. But if you steal it, then it's all profit margin.
You make more on cocaine. That's a point. That's a good point that you made. Yes, that's true. You do.
Right.
You do make more on cocaine. I'm not going to lie to you.
But there's some overhead involved.
That's the problem.
But see, with corn, when you steal it, it's all free.
You deal with cocaine, you're going to have to deal with somebody who don't speak no English, and he's ting tang wangy wan some
fucking foreign shit.
Garcia Hernandez, some shit.
Something that ends with a Z or an A.
With corn, it's mainly just Bob.
Right.
I'm just taking it from Bob.
Sometimes.
That's all.
Sometimes there's a Dale.
You never know.
Sometimes there's a Billy.
Sometimes. Once in a while. Once in a while it's a Billy Bob Dale. You never know. All three might be together in the same place.
Right.
Same man. So they're saying this is a long probe. We'll find out how long in a second here. They said this was they were looking into drug smuggling and other smuggling activities that were coming from the Bahamas and obviously South America, that sort of thing. The Bahamas were a stop-off point for the drugs, they were saying at one point. The FBI opened the investigation of Pee Wee Griffin originally in 1980.
That's the guy you look into.
That's the guy. You look into a guy named Pee Wee.
Yeah.
So this was 1980 they started this. So this is a long time, lots of surveillance. And I read the appeal of this. Okay. And so I read the entire thing, and it's fucking boring because it's all FBI. We surveilled this, and the electronic surveillance was from here to here. It's very boring. Basically, they had shitloads of wiretaps. They bugged these garages. They did it like mob guys, like they do with mob guys, the same sort of thing. They identified Harvey and Griffin as the kingpins of the operation, and they said that the drug ring had been making in profits $300 million a year.
A year
since 1976.
Oh my God!
Think about $300 million in 1976
That's
money.
So much money.
That's what that is now.
Profit.
That's profit. That is, they're making billions a year, basically in today's money in pure profit for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So not too shabby here.
They can hire a lawyer.
They should be able to. I would say here. Well, some of them will be able to. October 17th, 1980, the government applied to the district court to get an order, basically to do the electronic surveillance.
Sure.
This was at Harvey's office at Delray Towing. They were saying it was hard to get a bug in there, so they had to keep going back and forth. Basically, the listening device was on from October 1980 till January 1981. In this, the FBI confiscates about $6.5 million in property, including a 400-acre ranch in Broward County, a marina, a bunch of weed, rifles, pistols, shotguns, you name it, whatever rich people who smuggle drugs would have in their house. They said the ring consisted of 4 groups that imported and distributed at least 1 million pounds of weed a year. He said this is a FBI guy, Special Agent Welton Merry. Yeah. Welton is his name, Jesus. And Merry is his last name. Yeah. Merry Welton, that's Welton Merry? Fuck. He said, quote, "These people are the beginning of the octopus." Okay.
What? No.
Beginning of the octopus.
You don't say that.
No, that's
doesn't make it's
terrible.
That octopus doesn't go very long. You say this is the head of the serpent. You know what I mean? Like, because it goes for a long way.
No, octopus.
An octopus is
the terrible
you're
analogy.
A dickhead.
That's why you're a federal investigator in Florida bothering with weed. They're like, just let him do like the weed. Anything that's like complicated and shit, we'll get the smart guys to do. He's just whatever.
He's like the guy that just fucks up all cliches.
Yeah, they're just like, oh Christ, he's talking again. Is Welton talking again?
Right. Did Welton say that? Make like a tree and get out of here again? Did he say that?
Christ.
Did he do
he's
it?
like Biff from God shit. All right, whatever. They talk about how they used these a lot of these mechanics that work on the cars would tune the power boats to make them faster. This is great. The quote: "These men are adroit at using their hands, and because they know how to fix race cars, they also know how to fix the vessels that were used in the operation." Yeah. So it's
the same fucking motor.
It's the same thing. Gary says, quote, "I'd like to say a few things, but my lawyer says not to. Maybe when it's all over, I'll make some comments."
All right, Gary. That's good call.
Veteran race car driver guy named Dave Marcus said that there's no restrictions on membership in NASCAR, but, quote, "I don't think it's good for the organization to have those types of people involved. I don't know if this will give NASCAR a black eye. It shouldn't because it doesn't involve many people." What are you, fucking stupid? Are you joking? This is a sport that started on fucking hillbilly moonshiners that includes sponsors that are mostly beer and tobacco back then and everything else. You're going to say a black eye? Jesus Christ. How many of these guys do you think gave their wives black eyes back then? Fucking hillbillies that are sponsored by Schaefer. You don't think they were hitting them? Get the fuck out of here.
Those people.
Jesus Christ. Donnie Johnson, who's the general manager of Bobby Allison's racing team, said, quote, "I'm not a backwoods blind dummy. I know the stuff exists, but I hope it's not in our sport as strong as it's been in other sports. I don't know these people. They may be innocent, and I hope they are. Our sport doesn't need a black ball. We're just getting over the moonshine hauling reputation. It doesn't need a black ball. Also, black guys we're not too in tune with either. We don't need none of them neither." So Gary is released from jail on a $100,000 bond, and he ends up driving in that weekend's Richmond Cup race for the Rimac Racing Buick team. He races a Buick. He ends up crashing and finishing dead last in a 32-car field.
Shit.
That was pretty much the end for him.
He crashes a lot.
He's very aggressive.
Yeah.
He's super aggressive, and he takes chances, and he doesn't give a fuck, and he'll break his neck and get right back out there. He's very aggressive.
Maybe he's just constantly trying to come back next year with the fucking lap record again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He doesn't care.
Constantly wrecking.
He says about the whole thing, finally makes a statement. He says, quote, "I was in the wrong church in the wrong pew," which is not it's usually right church, wrong pew, but he's blah, blah, blah. Quote, "One minute I was celebrating a NASCAR national championship in the All-Pro Series. The next day I went to jail. I was champion for a day." So that's why I couldn't be Grace, because it's really hard to be Grace when, as you're saying Grace, the police are coming in the door. The federal agents are coming in, storming your place to arrest you.
You can't enunciate all 5 of those letters before the cops fucking arrest him.
It's not going to work here. All 5 of those letters? NASCAR?
Grace.
Oh, Grace. Yes. I don't know why I was thinking NASCAR. I'm like, NASCAR's not 5 letters. What are you talking about? I'm the stupid one. Right? So NASCAR has not formally suspended him, but a spokesperson for NASCAR said that he would be barred if he attempted to compete. He says, quote, "If Balough would try to drive in a race now, we would take every action to prevent that from occurring. The only reason we have not taken any action is because he has not tried to race." Okay. So if he tries to come in here, we'll fucking kick him out. But we're not going to put his name up. We're not going to put his picture up and do a do not admit.
Right.
Now, these people who were involved in this, the other NASCAR drivers, what they made, Billy Harvey only ran 2 races in 1981, the Daytona 500 and the Firecracker 4000. He finished 41st out of a field of 42 in both races and won only $3,915 that year. So, by the way, that's Billy with an IE.
Yeah, of course.
Why do fucking hillbillies spell Y names with an IE? Can you tell me JIMMIE, please? Why the fuck do you do that?
They're trying to
what is happening?
Make it special. I don't know. And I'm not happy about it either.
I bet. You shouldn't be. God damn it.
I don't know. Jimmy J.J. Walker is spelled the same way.
Yeah, that's why he goes by JJ.
Jimmy Johnson, there's a fucking NASCAR driver. Jimmy with an I.
Hillbilly.
Yeah,
that's my point. Yeah. Hillbillies all around. And Billy and Jimmy.
I think little Jimmy Dickens also spelled it that way. Hillbilly.
That's little Jimmy Dickens.
The best
I could tell you
ever.
Right now that he spells his name like that. Gary says here, let's do an in their own words here. In their own words, quote, "When the arrest happened, I'd been signed to drive the number 28 car for Harry Rayner. Waddell Wilson was the crew chief, and Robert Yates built the motors. It was a killer ride ride that Benny Parsons ended up in, and he really ran well. I was definitely at the top of my game. I won a national championship with NASCAR's All-Pro circuit, winning 14 of 22 races, leading most of the laps, and winning the most poles. We were in a great mode, but then there was the conviction, and I was on bond. So, not great. Things happen here. Post bust here, the NASCAR tries to sweep it under the rug and say that Balough and Harvey weren't like real NASCAR drivers.
Oh, all right.
They said that they were just in it for a hobby. Quote. He says, quote, "They're not prominent drivers. They are here, I think, because they like it, but not to try to make a living at it." And then he says they're hobbyists.
The dude, he was
he came in 10th in a race,
and he led the fucking race at Talladega
for a lap, but still, it's a fucking lap.
The only reason it wasn't more than that is because he crashed. He's just as good as the rest of your fucking guys.
He's fine. He's just as crazy as the rest of your hillbillies, and it's fine. Relax. Fucking,
it's like saying
uppity hillbilly. This is bullshit.
A sixth man isn't
not
a starter.
really on
so
the team.
We pay him.
He does have a uniform technically, and he shows up at all the practices and stuff. But he's not really on the team. He's not like he's LeBron James or anything.
Ridiculous.
So November 1982 is the verdict of all this. He gets conspiracy counts for conspiracy and trafficking and all that. Balough also is convicted of conspiring to give false information to the FBI during the investigation. Each of the marijuana conspiracy counts carry a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a $15,000 fine, and the false information count carries a maximum penalty of 5 years and a $10,000 fine.
This is a lot.
It's a lot. He is sentenced to 6 years in jail.
That's great.
That's sir, may fuck off. Fuck off. For 6 years and a $15,000 fine.
But that's not good when you come back out of there.
That's not great. But he can appeal it. It's a federal appeal. He can stay out on bond while he appeals.
Great.
This goes on for years.
Really?
Years, this federal appeal.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's the same thing with mobsters. They have a federal case, they get convicted, and then the sentencing goes on for years, and they can appeal the convictions.
While they're out,
and they end up not going for 5 years after they're sentenced. It's fucking crazy.
Make a bunch more money.
Yeah, definitely. So 1982, his total here, he ran 5 races in NASCAR.
Yeah.
He led 0 laps, but he made $35,735, which was more than the year before.
That's a deal.
Balough said
doesn't even have to win.
That's what I mean. It's not bad, but he said you had to do things to win races. He said, or to be able to race. He said, quote, "I'd gotten into some situations in the late 70s that I shouldn't have been around to get enough funding because there weren't any major corporations around then. We made some mistakes." Yeah. So it sounds like he's like, oh man, youthful indiscretion, even though I'm 36 years old.
Right.
It's, you know how that goes.
He just wishes that there was a pharmacy that was a legal weed pharmacy that would could sponsor him.
Perfect. That would be perfect for him. He says that the conviction's been a severe setback, but he also has a good list of sponsors still. He said, quote, "It hurts me dollars and cents wise. What I could have made at Grand National as opposed to short track racing. At first, it was kind of a hard setback because you work 18 or 19 years to get there."
Yeah,
I guess so. He said, quote, I was in the wrong place at the right time. That's all I'll say about that. I wish it was all over and behind me. I wish it had never happened. We'll deal with it."
Yeah.
So there you go. He is now he's finally suspended from NASCAR, from the Winston Cup circuit for, quote, "conduct detrimental to the sport." Which they drive at 200 miles an hour, run into each other, and have fist fights in the middle of the track before they drink a bunch of beer.
They get DUIs on the way.
DUIs fucking
leaving the track.
So, he says that while he's appealing, in 1984, he's still appealing. He says his plans are to change his base of operations to go to West Broward at the edges of the Everglades. He's going to go there. He said he's making plans to move to Jefferson, Georgia, from the Everglades. He said he wants to expand his car building shop and open a driving school at Georgia International Speedway.
That's the way to make money.
And he said, quote, "There's no place in the country right now where you can buy a complete race car and have somebody teach you how to drive it right there."
Well, don't go telling everybody.
It's not in the newspaper, no less. That was right in the newspaper.
Shut up.
That year, he wins the All-American 400. He wins the World Crown 300.
Yeah. Einstein didn't go out there talking about, you guys, nobody builds an atom bomb.
Listen,
I don't know.
Let me tell you about these formulas. I got these formulas. Now, I know I'm German and Austrian or whatever. That don't matter to me right now. Listen,
I'm American now.
I got formulas,
right.
and they're pretty good. Let me
nobody's
publish
building atom bombs now.
Let me show you how to build one quick. Here, let me tell you now. Write this down. You're going to want to put this in the paper.
Ridiculous.
People are going to need this.
Don't go giving your business fucking model out in the paper.
That's ridiculous.
And saying how few competitors there are.
It's silly. So,
Stupid.
1985 here, they're talking about him racing. There's a big article about him still racing and still appealing and having the sentence over his head. It's June 11th, 1985. But it's so weird because I was so distracted on this page because the article is interesting and all that, but the sales, Jimmy, the sales. Oh my God, the sales. I've missed the sales too. The sales. Yeah. So if you happen to find yourself in Pensacola, Florida, and it happens to be June 11th, 1985, I have some shit that you're going to want to get a hold of. You're going to want to head over to the Sack and Save store.
It's still open.
Oh, it's still open. It's you can get a top sirloin is only $1.97 per pound.
Oh.
That's not bad.
What a deal.
And they are advertising
it. It's $8.99 right now.
It's not, that's what I mean. $1.97.
Right.
We could do this. They're advertising it as, quote, grain-fed heavy beef.
Oh.
I don't know why you'd want it to be heavier, but grain-fed and heavy. Right. So these are two things they would never advertise now. Grain-fed and heavy. It's really heavy, and we fed it a bunch of, no, not grass, fucking grains, and it's fat and heavy. So weird. Totino's frozen pizzas, only 89 cents.
That's a fucking deal.
I would buy the shit out of those with the little tiny squares of pepperoni. I'll buy the shit out of those.
It's like chips of pepperoni.
It is. I prefer Red Baron, but that's fine. I'll eat whatever frozen pizza.
As long as it's not the
picky.
pepperoni that fucking cups up and then it's just
puddles of grease.
Gross.
That's disgusting.
That's vile.
That's terrible. And finally, you can head over to the this electronics store and you can get a Tandy 1000 computer. This ad tells me it's packed full of advanced features, including software.
Yeah.
This is $200 off. Monitor not included, by the way. Not included. Does come with DeskMate disk software, so that's something. The Tandy 1000 gives you more features than an IBM PC for less money. Plus, unlike the PC, every Tandy 1000 comes with DeskMate software featuring applications you want most. IBM PC compatibility lets you choose from the most popular software on the market. Price $999.
Wow.
It's $200 off.
So they're about the same still.
But this has like 4 megabytes of RAM, so not quite the same.
It doesn't do anything.
You can type words with this, and then if you have a giant printer, you can print them out if you have 3 hours.
I want to see that computer today.
Yeah, it's got a green display. Terrible. So, 1986, he's racing well. Peel's still going on.
How amazing is that? How fucking incredible printing technology has improved.
Oh, it's great now. So fast.
That
done.
Like
the dot matrix shit.
Yeah, going across the fucking page.
Pull the perforated sides off the fucking thing at the end.
And now it just goes and shits it out right now. That's
it fires it out.
Yeah.
Shoots it out like nothing. I don't
You
even
do
know.
like 30 of them.
It's dry and everything.
Yeah.
Like, bang, shit.
How does this happen? You can smear that dot matrix shit.
Hits you right in the chest when it comes out.
I can't believe I've never thought about how fast we really did that.
Well, computers have come a long way in general.
But printers, less than fucking 10 years ago, they were shit. They were garbage.
No, you're right. They were. Even 10 years ago, they were garbage.
And
they still
now
took
these
forever.
Laser jets.
I remember printing out scripts, and that took like a fucking hour for 110 pages to come out.
Oh, God, yes.
And you'd get like a script and a half out of an ink cartridge, too, which was miserable also. It's like, okay, well, that was great. Have like 9 ink cartridges on hand.
And dear Christ, if you have a color one, forget it.
Don't even worry. You wouldn't even bother with the color.
I never refilled the color.
No one refilled the color one. Why would you? What is that? $68
right.
for me to
or $18 for black? I'll have the black.
Fuck it, black.
Yeah.
So he's racing well in 1986. The appeal is still going on. Still has not been to jail.
Okay.
The day he was arrested and then released on bond is still the only time he's been to jail.
Wow.
And he was arrested 4 fucking years ago.
He's got a 6-year sentence hanging over his head,
which is honestly batshit. Like that's just insane
for drugs.
It's crazy, man.
You better be careful. The war on drugs is coming up right around the corner.
It's right now.
Yeah.
This is when it ramped up. That early 80s is when they ramped up on the smuggling, and right now Nancy Reagan's telling kids not to do drugs, and
DARE program is firing up.
It's a bunch of useless monies being spent on shit that clearly never worked.
Never worked.
Now that we have 2020
all these black guys behind the fucking
right. We got a lot of black people in jail, a lot of white kids with new T-shirts that said DARE on them, and then nothing else, basically, and a giant fucking opioid issue. That's what we have. So thanks, guys. Good job.
Congratulations, Miss Reagan.
Stop concentrating on weed and concentrate on heroin, you dumb fucking twat. Anyway, moving on.
And usually the people that sell that are wearing a white lab coat and they're behind a Walgreens.
Well, now,
counter.
That's the thing now. Well, then too, but just people that weren't aware of it then. They didn't know they liked heroin.
I didn't realize that this shit was heroin until like fucking 5 years ago.
I don't think a lot of people
found
did.
out.
But we like heroin. In the fucking 1800s and through like 1920, everything had heroin in it. Everything had heroin. They'd give you opium. They'd give you everything had fucking heroin in it. That's what it was. So what? Because for 60, 70 years, it sort of went out of fashion and it was like only junkies use heroin and now everybody uses it again. People like fucking heroin. I'm sorry.
When
That's
you
what
found
it
out
is.
you can take heroin in pill form.
Yeah, not that it's good, but I'm saying there's an explanation for it.
Fucking horrible
It's
stuff.
fucking heroin and people enjoy it, obviously, for
That's
centuries.
Rush Limbaugh.
Jesus Christ. God damn it. So anyway, the All-Pro, the public relations director for the racing league, the All-Pro Racing League he's racing for, they're fine with him. NASCAR doesn't want anything to do with him, but they're silver over there.
Yeah.
They need asses and seats.
That sells tickets.
They need ticket sales. So he says, quote, "Never in any way have we chastised Gary. He's still one of our foremost racers. I've known Gary since he was 5. He's got lots of talent, and we are happy to have him race here. So we don't give a shit. He can smuggle as much weed, as long as he's not smuggling weed across our track.
Right.
As long as it's not in his car from the starting line to the finish line, that's the smuggling. We don't really care."
And how's that for good old boy NASCAR? That's as good old boy as it gets.
That's what I mean. If that was some fucking black guy who got caught with all that weed, they wouldn't be like, well, I'm sure he's fine. I've known him since he was 5. He wins the All-Pro Championship in 86, the All-American 400, at the All-Pro Championships in Nashville. This is when the appeal comes up here. 10 different people out of the 66 challenged their convictions for this in this whole thing.
56 of them just said, all right.
56 of them, but they might have made deals. 56 of them, too. But these guys didn't make deals. They're trying to fight the thing. They say that Harvey ran this operation out of his office at the Delray Towing Service. Like we said, he owned it. It was in Delray Beach, Florida. They're saying that they just go over the whole thing using speedboats to transport
his race
weed.
Sponsor? Delray Towing? Was that the towing company?
No. That was years before that. It was some Kansas City towing company, I think. They said large freighters would then... This is what I mean. They'd take them on the freighters where they'd have all the cars and all the equipment. The 18-wheelers, they'd pack weed in with all that shit and just take it across the country. It's funny, too. I love this here in the appeal. I love the legal language. Quote, "There is no contention that the evidence was not sufficient to show participation of all the appellants in the conspiracy. The prosecution, however, relied on evidence obtained by electronic surveillance at Harvey's office at Delray Towing." So they're like, yeah, we didn't see shit. We don't have any evidence you could hold or I could hand to you. We just recorded everything.
You got a tape from this
I
dick.
hate that for some reason. That just doesn't seem fair to me. It's like it's like hiding with a radar gun. I just don't like it.
You got to catch him.
If you're going to get a mob guy, you got to fucking catch him with a body in the trunk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's the way I've always looked at it.
If he doesn't put himself near that body, then guess what?
And guess
you
what?
don't get that guy.
He's being smart.
Right.
And tough shit on you.
He's beating you.
Yeah. Crime and sports. We root for the criminals.
Right.
I don't know
I will root for a bad guy.
We always do. Yeah.
Yes.
We love...
As long as nobody gets hurt.
I'm fine with this. That's what I mean. This Gary Balough guy, so far he hasn't done anything to piss me off.
Right.
He's runs his races. I don't care about that. He smuggles
drugs.
weed.
Right.
I couldn't care fucking less if you're smuggling weed.
A little bit.
Not even this much.
No.
Don't care that you're doing that. Thanks.
Yeah.
From
good looking out.
You know what? I'm gonna all the teenagers in the 80s who needed weed. They thank you, and I'm gonna I'll represent them, even though I was like 4 years old when this was going on.
Some of that weed may have gotten back to you later on.
You never know.
You know, some of the weed you smoke may have come off the same plant.
You know what? You might have gotten people into weed who then got me into weed. So thank you. I appreciate that. Not too bad here. He says he's ready to go for 1986. He's actually like a big deal in this all-pro circuit. He's all ready to go. He says, quote, "We were fixing to sign dominoes in 1986 for $750,000 for 25 all-pro races, but then I had to do what I had to do. We had our banquet on Saturday night, and then I had to report to prison Monday morning." Ooh. That was the end of that was the end for 4 years. I'd gotten into situations in the late 70s I shouldn't have been around to get enough funding for the corporate blah blah blah. So Holy shit! This is
he had to say it all over again.
He had to say it all. That's like his standard thing that he has to say. But all that money all ready to go. 25 races for the All Pro deal.
$750,000
down
on the table.
Yep, down the Domino's Pizza had the money on the table. All that Noid money.
Yeah,
fucking out the window.
That was Noid money.
That was Noid money in '86. Yeah, it's fucking. It's interesting too because he had to do like the report to prison.
Ouch.
Henry Hill, now take me to jail fucking thing. So he had a banquet and then did that. So December 1986, this is right before this, he wins the Snowball Derby. So that was a big deal. He was all happy and then he goes away. He's ordered to prison to serve 45 and a half months. They give him at this point, which is what he does actually out of the 6 years. August 30th, 1988. Okay. He's in prison right now. He's already in prison. So there's no, he's not out. He's not doing anything. But apparently, this is the thing with these federal investigations. They take a while to catch up with you. You know what I mean? Like,
lots of red tape.
They'll investigate you, and they have to really build this case out. They really want to make sure they can fuck you
airtight.
Right. Yeah, airtight. So, this article here talks about 2 Florida men who were arraigned on charges that they smuggled 15,000 pounds of marijuana from Florida to the from the Bahamas in 1986 aboard a yacht they bought and registered in 1985. And Gary is one of these guys.
God damn it, Gary.
So while he is literally appealing a federal fucking sentence for drug smuggling, this is just stupid.
Drugs.
He's smuggling again.
Jesus.
And not only just like in the fucking mix, like, oh yeah, him and this other guy bought a fucking yacht to smuggle
doing
shit.
it.
They were like, oh, I got an idea. Let's do this. Well, you can't run NASCAR.
I got a lot of legal fees, and Domino's ain't paying up.
It's crazy. So it's Gary here and Ciro oh wow, Busigilo,
the
middleman. Here they pleaded
the guy that spoke to the drug lord,
the Italian guy. They plead not guilty in district court on charges of conspiracy to defraud the Internal Revenue Service, conspiracy to smuggle marijuana, and violations of the Interstate Travel Act. I guess to have a bunch of weed with you.
Got him on fucking tax laws.
Yep, these two here. They said that Balough posed as Peter J. Newman and bought a shell company about that, made a company on paper named Silver Lining Inc. Silver Lining to the whole drug charge. I guess we'll do this.
I like that his alias is like a bunch of names from Seinfeld just mixed together.
Yeah.
Jay Peterman and
what do you say, Alfred E. Newman? No, that's the man. Never mind. Shit. All right, Peter J. That's fine. Good enough.
That'll work.
That's good. It's named Silver Lining Inc. They bought it from the Yacht Registry Limited of Wilmington. The two of them then used this company to buy the 53-foot yacht.
Wow.
53-foot fucking Hatteras yacht, Abracadabra, they called it, from the registry.
Disappear.
You know how much they bought this yacht for? Guess.
$150,000.
$307,000 in cash money.
Drug money.
Cash fucking money. Yeah, if someone whips out $307,000 in cash in 1985 in Florida, chances are that's drug money.
$300,000 yacht.
$300,000 yacht, and then they destroyed the records for Silver Lining before when the shit started to come down. They destroyed the business records, which is also a crime. This is all from the grand jury indictment. The fraud charge came after both these guys gave false identifications on IRS forms required for cash transactions of more than $10,000.
Got it.
So they lied on these forms. So they said, what's going on here? Looked into them. Why are these idiots buying a boat? Oh, that guy's on federal appeal for drug trafficking. Right. Let's see what's going on. Holy shit. It's the same exact thing. This guy's a fucking moron.
Unbelievable. It's so easy to track.
It's the easiest thing to track. It's so stupid. They hired a guy named Joseph Daniel Sykes, Carl Leon, quote, Doc McKinney. Yeah. These are black guys, I feel like. And Don Wayne Sykes, I guess that's the brother of Joseph Daniel, to pilot the yacht. They had basically this yacht would hold 15,000 pounds of weed at a time, which is a good amount of weed. But they really should have been doing coke because they would have made a shitload more money. 15,000 pounds of coke gets you a lot more than 15,000 pounds of weed. They did this.
But 15,000 pounds of weed is so much more weed.
It's
so
a
you
lot.
could probably fit a lot more coke.
Oh, fuck yeah, you can fit a lot. Oh, shit, I mean? Yeah. Oh, my God, you can fit so much coke.
So much more.
15,000 pounds, yeah, they're just in terms of weight, but in terms of size, right. 15,000 pounds of weed is a room full, and 15,000 pounds of coke is not that much.
It's like the size of a trunk.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's when you hear about the smuggling and like trafficking, they would have to make this, you don't think about this, but all the cars they would transport shit in, they would have them all specially done. Yeah. So they had like these iron shocks that wouldn't drop no matter how much weight was in the car, because they would have 4 tons of weed, 4 tons of cocaine in the trunk, and the car be dragging on the fucking ground just from coke weight.
You put like bars in there, like rigid frame on a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's what they do.
So there's no shocks
at all. They put these crazy shocks that were like for tractor trailers and like freight liners and shit, and they'd put them in your Chevy. So
they could ride like a dump truck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. On June 1st, 1986, these guys had 15,000 pounds of weed on board the yacht here on board the Abracadabra, going from the Bahamas to Florida. That day, the Coast Guard pulled them over, which I guess is what they do. You pull you over in a boat. They pull them over, they intercept them, they search the boat, they confiscate all of it, and they take all 3 crew members into custody. Yeah. The crew members ended up being convicted on smuggling charges and were serving time before they even arrested these two, before the indictments even came down. Federal investigators, the problem was they bust these guys. Yeah. They put them in jail, the drivers, the boat, just the
people
crew.
in possession of the weed.
In possession. Right. And then they have to figure out whose boat it is. Those guys didn't talk. They didn't say anything. They didn't say shit.
Brilliant.
So they didn't say anything. They just took the charge. So then they had to figure out, they had to go back, okay, these
Property
3 schmucks probably didn't buy a $300,000 yacht on their own and do this. So, they were just like a crew captain, and they weren't like, they weren't high rolling drug dealers or anything like that.
I'm picturing the guys from fucking Captain Phillips.
I'm just picturing more
Somali,
Captain Ron.
All right.
I'm picturing the guys that chase Captain Ron to the edge of the dock as they pull off in the beginning there.
And the car goes in.
Yeah. So they trace the ownership of the boat, finally get it, because they trace it back to a fake company with a fake guy, and they have to figure out who this fake guy is. And they finally get all the way back to Balough and Basiglio here. And the U.S. District Court judge here orders Balough held on a $100,000 bond for some reason, I don't know, because he's already in federal prison serving on a drug smuggling charge. He's not going anywhere. Basiglio was released on a $50,000 bail, so he's there. So Jesus Christ, now this fucking guy is sitting in prison, but he's in like a double prison now, which I guess it's not. I guess it's not that bad though, because it's not like they can put you in. It's not like they're going to go, well, we're going to put you in a worse prison now, or we're going to bury you under the prison.
No,
you're already there. If you have a decent lawyer, you're going to get that shit concurrent. Like, I guess that's not that bad. That's kind of a freebie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, got away with one.
It's kind of a freebie. It really is. Like, it's not.
Unless they really throw the book at you on this one, which, I mean, if they do, what are you going to get? 10 years?
And he can even say, like, he's already in prison. Yeah. Like, I mean, he knows the wrongness of his ways. Right. He's been in prison. He's doing these. Like, you can totally get out of that and just have it be concurrent. And it's fucking insane here. So, but he's still sitting in prison. He has to feel a bit like an asshole, because he went in the fucking papers for how long? Just wrong place, wrong church, wrong pew. I just want to put it all behind. When he said, I just want to put it all behind me, blah, 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 he was currently smuggling. He had just bought a fake shell company, a $300,000 yacht to smuggle. Now he's sitting there in jail, and he's like, fucking life was good in Florida, not in this fucking jail. And then there's a knock on the door. And it swings open, and he's very surprised because it's the Mexican pimp. Guns blazing. And he says, How is it? How is it you've come to arrive here? Why are you here? Why do you come? Why do you come? You live in Florida. That's nice. You could smuggle the drugs. First of all, here's one thing I do not understand from you. Number one, you smuggle drugs from Bahamas? What is wrong with Mexico? What is wrong with me? What is wrong? We cannot be business partners? You think it's just because I have the girls that I do not do the marijuana also? I smuggle the marijuana. I help you smuggle the marijuana. I am very insulted by this, and because of that, I will not pour you scotch. Goodbye. Poof. and in a puff of cheetah skin.
Yeah.
He's gone. Scotch, tequila,
and limes.
I meant to say not cheetah skin.
Probably some salt.
Some salt. Definitely some salts in there, I would say. Poof. So finally, 1990, he's released from prison. Finally here. He says, quote, but I've talked all I want to talk about it. I'm sick of talking about it. I did my 4 years and I'm tired of being beat down. I did the deal and it cost me greatly. My marriage, my career in Winston Cup, everything. I'm surviving. I still have my kids. I love to fish. I have my health and my ability, and I'm going on. That's all behind me. I paid a dear price, 45 and a half months, but it's over. When I came back, I got my 7-year-old car and went out to Somerville, South Carolina for a 200-lap all-pro race. I sat on the pole and we won the race. I can still do this.
Okay.
So that says I'm getting out.
I'm not past my prime.
I'm getting out and I'm pretending none of this shit ever happened. And I'm just going to say I'm moving on.
Yeah.
So 1991, he tries to he does the qualifying for the Daytona 500 and he does not qualify. This is the only does not qualify of his NASCAR career that ever happens. He does run 2 NASCAR races that year. They let him back in. He makes $6,410. So the money has not improved much since he was in prison. May 24th, 1992 is the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlottesville, or in Charlotte, not Charlottesville. Right. That's other things happening in Charlotte.
Terrible things are happening.
Coca-Cola 600 cracker in Charlottesville.
Running down 600 black people
that
in
would
the
be
street.
not a good race.
Car,
That's a bad race there. Somebody got real confused about that. Like, this ain't a racetrack. This is his last NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Out of this whole thing, he only led 1 lap in his entire NASCAR career out of 4,033.
In Talladega.
So the equivalent of 5,668.9 miles, he led 1 lap out of all that.
He was in first place once.
1 lap. That was in Talladega, where he went from 41st to 1st.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty amazing. And then he blew his engine and crashed. So that happens there. He also had a ton of short track wins, as we know. Those are his main deal here. He started at an average of 21st place in NASCAR, and finished at an average of 25th place while bringing home a career grand total earnings of $90,900
God.
in NASCAR.
That shit was lucrative.
Over the course of 15 years with prison sentences and everything else mixed in there, and $500,000 worth of cars.
So
and blown
surprisingly
engines.
enough, NASCAR is more lucrative than comedy.
Shocking. It is. And probably less dangerous.
Yeah.
So he makes $7,700 in 1992 from NASCAR. 1992 Winston Open. He finishes that year 19 of 25, makes $2,600. 1994, he finishes 13th of 17 at the 1994 Super Truck Winter Heat 2000.
Oh, he's driving those?
Oh, baby. He's driving anything that somebody will put a fucking steering wheel in his hand and pay for it. He'll drive it.
Yeah.
They'll say, you want to drive this? He'll go, you paying for it?
Yeah.
You
Is it
pay?
yours?
You buy it?
I don't know how to buy.
You buy? You're going to pay for it.
It's all free.
I'm the engine and everything.
No,
not
I
just
get money.
I get, and then you pay me
Right.
too. Now, if I win, you don't keep it all, right? I get some.
I get some.
All right.
And then you can add this truck back.
Then he goes, all right. And that's the end of it. Gets on in the truck. 1995, he races again. Super Truck Winter Heat 200. He finishes 5th this year.
Great.
Out of 18. So he improved from 13th to, I would assume maybe driving those trucks, you'd need a little more experience. October of 2000.
It's generally washed up assholes or nobodies that drive those.
Yeah,
The
that's
NAS truck thing. They wanted it to take off so bad. Like it was kind of started when S10s were like the cool thing to have, like the lowered and then make it faster.
Yeah.
And the Dodge Durango.
I remember
Dakota.
that. It's like ESPN at 2 in the morning in the early 90s.
And they didn't matter.
No one cared about
Nothing
that.
happened.
Like, what's happening here? What are those
This
trucks
is
now?
stupid.
You literally like, what are those trucks now?
Right.
Like, what's happening?
You look at them
What's
like
going on?
you look at somebody wearing overalls.
Yeah.
Those
What are you wearing, overalls? At the grocery store.
Yeah.
You got overalls on?
What are you doing? Is that a truck?
By the way, I did, a quick sidebar. I was at Circle K, which is a convenience store here, like a 7-Eleven type of thing. And I go inside gas station. As I go inside, there are 2 employees outside the front door smoking a cigarette,
Of course.
right?
They
2
always
of them.
are.
There is 1 in the store at the register.
Yeah.
There is a line. I get online, and there's like 4 people in front of me, which pissed me off right away.
course.
I'm like, this fucking shit better go quick.
This is the most inconvenient convenience store ever.
I look behind me after about 10 seconds. There are fucking a dozen people behind me. So there's like 16 people in line. And this one girl's trying her best to do this thing. She's like 17 years old. Right. So I've never done this in my life before. I got out of line. I fucking marched outside and I went, hey, you got about 15 people on this fucking line. You better get in there and clear this shit out right now. They threw their cigarettes down and ran inside. Who would have thought? They fucking did it. I thought they'd be like, fuck you, dude, or like call the cops or something. Right. And they were like, I'm so sorry. See, like, you fucking better be sorry.
Circle K hires the most dipshitted people ever. Like at QT here, they're like, you can't even have, like, the mustache is the only facial hair they're allowed to have.
Yeah, different.
And like at Circle
K,
Yankees. Right, but at a Circle K, they're like encouraged for
you're
facial
allowed to
hair,
have like,
but like that's just for the women.
You're allowed to have IV needles dangling from a vein at Circle K.
But they're so dumb that those kids that threw down those cigarettes were probably like, fuck, they said the regional manager is coming, and there he is.
Well, the thing that I felt...
They probably just thought you owned the place.
I felt so... No, I don't look like I own anything.
You look at Circle K?
So, well,
you
maybe.
Look like you could own a Circle K.
I walk back in, and I take my place back in line, and like I'm feeling super good about myself. Like I'm like, that's right, because now people are getting helped, and I'm like, I did this. I facilitated all of us getting out of here, and I'm feeling overly proud of myself. And I turn around to like receive the praise from my fellow line goers. I turn around, and the guy directly behind me is like a 500-pound man with a 87-ounce drink,
of course,
and fucking overalls, and his mouth just open, just staring at me blankly. I went, somebody had, and I look at him, and he's just staring back at me. I went, never mind. And I just turned around, and all the joy,
all day,
all the joy was drained from me completely.
Because you have patience.
I did this for this guy.
Right.
Fuck this guy. Like, I should have just let him wait. He didn't care. This slack-jawed fuck didn't notice.
I'm on board with not waiting for shit, though. There will be people.
I was so mad.
I had somebody in front of me counting out cash. He goes, he had 2 drinks, and then he goes, and then I want to put 5 on whatever fucking pump, and he just starts counting change.
Oh God, Jesus Christ.
And I go, put his gas and all that shit and this drink on this card.
I don't care.
And the guy
the
guy goes, that's so nice.
No,
I
it's
was like,
not.
no, it's not.
No, I'm just impatient.
The amount of time that I'm going to waste waiting for your bullshit is worth way more than $5.
You should have taken the change. I'll just pay me back and take it in the parking lot and just flung it up into the air. Fuck out of here.
I wanted to tell him so bad, I'm not being nice, sir. I'm actually being a complete cunt to you, and you don't even realize it because you're too fucking stupid to realize that people don't want to sit around and wait for your bullshit.
They don't want to sit around for that. You were probably proud of yourself for that, too. We're very overly proud of ourselves for shit.
I don't wait.
No. So October 2000, Balough here is returning to the dirt driving thing here. Everybody's very excited. A lot of people see this because he's older now. They see this as an attempt by promoter Glenn Donnelly to hype a sagging gate. They say,
the fuck is that?
Get people to come there because nobody's
showing up.
No one's showing up.
Don't say saggy gate around those people, though. Well, everything they have is saggy.
When he comes back, they're going to bring the Batmobile to show everybody and all that. So they're going to try to get people in here. They talk about the Batmobile. Gary says, I don't think that could ever happen again. He said, we caught them in 1980 with a lax rule book. Kenny Weld went through the book and he was brilliant. I'd like to win this thing again for him, Mario Rossi, Whip Mulligan, Grant King, and all the other people who made my career what it is. God be with them. He said, my car was so superior that it was almost not even fun to drive. Any idiot could have driven it. We had the whole package, aero and motor. We had Don Brown's chassis and Ray Stonkus and Pete Hamilton, Ron Hutter working on it. It was like O.J. Simpson's dream team of lawyers.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
What a terrible
don't
thing
do that.
to say.
That's not the right thing to do. I love this. I'm like OJ. That's what he basically said. I'm OJ. No, that's not what you want to say.
That.
You don't want to announce I'm like OJ.
Right. I got one over on you. Is that what you're trying to tell us, sir?
I put a team together like OJ. Right. I don't want anybody saying you eat a hamburger like OJ. No. Just don't tell me I do anything like OJ unless you say I run through an offensive line like OJ. That's
or
the only
put
thing.
my pants on like OJ.
Yeah.
He puts them on like everybody else.
I suppose they're on. I don't know who puts them on. No proof that someone else isn't doing it. I have no idea. Now, this is my favorite here. This is wonderful. Well, let's do it in their own words about his age for this, because they're talking about, look, man, you're kind of old to be coming back, making a comeback in racing. He says, quote, in their own words, quote, as for the age issue, I just turned 53, but I tell everybody I'm 39 because I feel like I'm 25. And I haven't been away from racing for 20 years. I've been racing a lot in the South. In 1996, I drove Pee Wee Griffin's late model, and our goal was to win 50 races. The most I'd ever won before was 39, and we won 67 out of 79 that year. Since then, I've done R&D and crew, chief work. I run BJ McLeod or Pete Orr's space cars, and I teach young drivers aerodynamics, chassis setup, and how to drive. God damn it.
Yeah,
fucking dare you tell me I'm old.
I'm still hung up on I'm 53, but I tell people I'm 39 because I feel like I'm 25.
That's my favorite thing.
Why don't you just tell them you're 53 then?
I'm 53. I tell them I'm 39, but I feel like I'm 25. How old are you? 39? That's funny. You don't look 39. Great, because I don't feel 39 either. I feel like I'm 25, even though I look like I'm 53.
Why don't you just tell them I'm 53, but I feel 25? Just tell them that shit and leave 39 the fuck out of this.
They're like, where? I think at that point, how old are you? 39? Are you really? No, I'm actually 53, but I feel like I'm 25. Well, where the fuck does 39 come from? Where'd you get that out of your ass? What is that, halfway between 53 and... What are you talking about? Have you talked to this fucking asshole for a minute? It's literally 14 years. That's halfway between.
Right in between.
That's literally what he said.
What are you doing this for, dickhead?
What an asshole. Jesus Christ. So, I mean, he's running these tracks. He's running his mouth. He's being a fucking idiot. I mean, at least I guess he's older. At least he's stopped smuggling. I guess we can say that for him.
Well, he's got an uptick in behavior.
Christ. Yeah, well, until 2004 when he's sent back to prison for smuggling again. Again. A fucking again.
You know, like 25-year-olds do.
You know, like fuck, he felt like I'm 25. He goes, when you buy a yacht under a shell corporation, under an assumed name, and you smuggle in drugs from South America and the Caribbean, it feels like a young man's game.
You feel real youthful.
I feel young when I'm doing that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the criminality, maybe I don't know what. Open water. So yeah, sent back to prison again. This is for 5 years.
Yeah.
He ends up doing another 5 years in prison. This is his third prison stint.
Yeah.
Well, technically his second prison stint, but his third time being sentenced to federal prison, we'll say, for that. 2009, he's released from prison finally.
Yeah.
He's on house arrest though until May of 2010 when he is finally released from the...
He's a free man now.
Free man, and as of May of 2010, he did his time in Pensacola the last time. Some federal facility in Pensacola was the last place he was. In 2010, he runs the Eckerd 200, which is the
same one,
his famous race. Yeah. He comes in 44th out of 47.
Oh no!
So he goes from being the dominant factor of that to
this is not an elderly man's sport.
30 years later, it's not quite the same, and he doesn't have everybody's cars are the same now. He doesn't have a car that's twice as good as everybody else's, which is a problem. He says, quote, if the opportunity is right and I have the chance to work with people like this again, I'd come back in a heartbeat. But next time I'll test somewhere 3 or 4 days, and when I come back here, we'll be ready. So he's like, we didn't test it. We just put our car on the track here. As of March of 2010, he was living in Miami.
Yeah.
He said, I know this because he tweeted this, and we'll find out not a big tweeter.
Not a good one? Not a good account to follow?
This is his second and last tweet.
Okay.
So he gave up on tweeting very quickly. Now living now living in Miami Beach, looking to go back into racing soon, maybe up north, not sure as what I would like to build a car for Syracuse. He got 4 retweets and 6 likes for that.
How many followers does he have?
70.
Wow.
Well, I don't know how many he had back then, but now he has 70.
70 followers, and he got 4 retweets out
4
of that.
retweets. That's not bad.
Solid.
That's a good. I mean, it's probably his family, and it's like
still pretty
a
impressive.
race partner or something like that. So June of 2015, he is selected as an inductee into the Northeast Modified Hall of Fame.
Oh my God.
Driver inductions and special awards ceremony will be held August 5th.
Drug smuggling kingpin is in your Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, Northeast Modified Hall of Fame, and Stock Car Museum. It'll be in Weedsport, New York. It's called Weedsport.
Yes.
That could never be more appropriate for a guy who smuggled a shitload. That's amazing. I'm sorry.
Unbelievable.
That's fucking the most appropriate induction of all time.
How is there no?
And it's even Weedsport Speedway's Super Dirt Car Series Hall of Fame 100 is the race. It's called.
Weedsport is also pronounced Weedsport.
Weedsport. Sport.
That's hilarious.
Yes, Weed Sport. Sport.
How is there
couldn't be any better?
How is there no port in fucking South Florida called Weedsport?
Weedsport.
That would be perfect.
Blowport.
Yeah,
this is
fucking Powderport.
He says at 67. This was a couple of years ago. He's still working on race cars, but not racing.
Yeah.
He will once in a while. He said he mentors young racers. A guy named Andy Jones he was working with, showing them the ropes and teaching them how to go faster. He says, quote, "My 200 lap days are over. I've got 5 stents in my heart and nothing more to prove." Well, I think the 5 stents are a bigger issue than nothing more to prove. He says that one I may have to get in and take a few laps because they're talking about a new car that he's working on that he's really into. He said, but I'm definitely retired. So he's retired from racing. 2016 Motorsports Race Car and Trade Show in Philly. They have his Batmobile car there.
I am blown away by 5 stents in his heart.
And I have nothing to prove.
Isn't there only 4?
Yeah, but you can stick shit everywhere.
Right,
There's all sorts of.
He's got 2 in at least one of them.
His heart is being held together like I don't even know. You might as well when people roll joints and they roll a piece of cardboard and put it in the end. That's what at this point they're like, I don't even know anymore about these fucking stents. Just stick some shit, put a piece of rip a piece off the cigarette pack, roll it up, and just stick it in the artery. It'll hold
Here's
it up.
Here's a
I don't even know
matchbook.
anymore.
If you rip the front off, you can use that.
Jesus Christ.
This is amazing.
So yeah, he goes to they have this car goes around the country a lot. It's in a museum and it goes to trade shows and car shows and all that sort of thing. He's also inducted into some other New York Hall of Fame in 2017 that none of you care about, including myself. The Snowball 200, that big race. He is there's the list of the 50 greatest Snowball 200 drivers of all time. He is number 13 on that list.
Oh my God.
So not too shabby. Can't get enough of Gary Balough. June of 2008, his book came out, like we said, on his website. It's GaryBalou.com. It is called Hot Shoe, A Checkered Past. My story, you punning motherfucker.
And there's no checkered flags in your past,
A Checkered Past, my story.
Right.
It's a picture of him. He says he talks all about the smuggling and all that sort of thing in it. It says also you can order the book, and it says, how many do you want? Quantity with a one plate. I need 5 of these bad boys. Right. It says in stock, this is great, 4,758 in stock. So he's got quite a few.
He bought 5,000.
He bought 5,000. He gave out 200, and now he's trying to sell some.
Wow, that's amazing.
This is at GaryBalou.com, and the reason why I didn't buy this is because it's $29.99, and I'm not giving this fucking idiot $30 so he can tell me that he wasn't smuggling when I know he was smuggling. Go fuck yourself.
He's trying to make $150,000 real quick.
Was he tries to not take responsibility for his stupidity?
Yeah.
Also, that's all it is here. Also, Amazon.com. There is a vintage. It's a photo of one of his cars. It's a cool photo, but it's just not the Batmobile. It's a photo taken at Eldora Speedway in Ohio. It's only 3x3, and it's $30.
3x3.
3x3. Little tiny picture. $30.
Fucking wallet size.
Yeah, free shipping. Gee, thanks.
You appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Only one left. So get that.
$10 per inch.
And can't get enough even more at Gary Balough on Twitter. He has 70 followers. He follows 3 people, and he's tweeted twice. The last time in March of 2010.
Does he follow?
I didn't. It's race people.
Okay.
And he hasn't touched it in 8 years, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And also, you can go to 1ztees.com, and they have hats and hoodies and shirts of him for like $25-$30. I don't know. I'm not giving this guy any fucking money. But seems like an interesting, crazy bastard.
I'd hang out with him.
I'd hang out with him. He seems like a nutcase. Yeah. That's Gary Balough.
Bet he has great weed.
Much stupider than Jeremy Mayfield. And I have to think he likes to smoke weed. I just have to. Because to keep smuggling that much, you have to have an enthusiasm for weed at that point. It's like
know the product.
Well, it's like if you're in the restaurant business, you wouldn't like open a restaurant, have it fail. Right. Open a restaurant, have it fail, go bankrupt, do all this shit, and then open another restaurant if you didn't have a fucking passion for food.
Right.
Even if you didn't have a passion for selling food, you'd have to have a passion for food itself. Right. You love food and you love to eat, but fucking that's Gary Balough and his stupid federal insanity. And wow, that is that. If you like that story, I have an idea of how you can tell us about it.
Tell us.
You rather just go to iTunes. That's what you do. You give us 5 stars, tell us you're following instructions, following directions, or you follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Twitter, on Facebook. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can get all the merchandise. You can have links to everything, links to the tours, links to donate. So you can just do it right there, either Patreon or at patreon.com/crime and sports or PayPal using our email address crimeandsports@gmail.com. And I would like you, Jimmy, I have an assignment for you right now. I would like you right now, no fucking delay, right this second, I would like you to tell me the list of the most wonderful fucking people in the world. Jimmy, hit me with that goddamn list.
This week's executive producers are Caitlin Stupak.
Either way, she's fantastic. Thank you.
A tough name to pronounce.
So cool. Thank you.
Gavin McFarland. No, it's Gavin McFarland. I can't write a fucking R. Christiane Castaldi, Nilu Rafsanjani up in she's in San Fran.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
and Chrissy in Boston. Thank you very much. Carrie Lynn. Yes, Carrie Lynn. No.
Yes. No.
Carrie Lynn Genitivi.
I like when you sound real sure of it, and then you're like, no,
I'm an idiot.
Never mind.
And Charles Hyatt. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Greenleaf's Booking, bookkeeping. Shit. These are the newest donations, obviously.
Thank you so much.
Under the Sea Fabrics, Nicholas Sanzoni, I think.
Ooh, I like that name.
Or Sanzone.
That is not bad at all. That's a good name.
Italian name.
I like that. He's suffered. Much like me.
He's put through a lot of shit.
We've suffered together, my brother.
Courtney Tanabe, Katrin Price. That's what it is. Angel Aguilar wants to wish a happy birthday to Stephanie, who started the Crime Sports Facebook group. So thank you so much,
Thank
Steph.
you so much.
And I heard that Angel likes blowies on your birthday. That's what I heard.
Oh, all right then.
I think that's true.
Excellent.
Kate Ives donated twice. Thank you. And King Milkfart.
No.
Why would you make me say that?
Well, I think that's the reason right there.
He
I wanted
or
you to say
she
that.
donated twice.
Let's go with a he probably on that one. Just a
You don't
hunch.
think the ladies are that much of dicks to do that?
I don't think I don't think a lady would think of to call themselves milk fart.
No.
That seems like something.
Maybe fart girl. You never know.
Well, that's true, but she didn't call that herself fart girl. I feel like milk fart is something that a 7th grader made up and then has been calling himself as his alias that for the last 20 years. Possibly.
It's probably an @gmail.com for sure.
And Yahoo.
Right.
Yeah, it's a Yahoo.
Sherry Demerchant. Yes. Carolyn Watson, Ali Vandergrift, Melissa Pritchard, Ninky Van Gent, I think. I don't know. I don't think. I'm sure. I think I'm wrong. Frank Castle.
Got that one.
Katrina Bell, James Acelta, Gemma Day, Doug Connell, Karen Waters, Caven Kruger. I think that's true.
Cool.
I think that's right.
I like it.
Or Cavan. Shit.
I dig it either way.
Either way. I'll take it. Louise Rayfield, Amanda McKelvey, Amy with no last name, Sarah Carter, Sarah Peterson, Cal Roberson, Jared Hohey, Jesse Hartman. That guy's in every goddamn week. Thank you,
Thank you
Jesse.
so much.
Teresa Lazari, Alex East, Cole Finley, Hunter Goff, Sherry Holland. I said Alex East. Kate Myers, Andrea Walls, Ashley Wilsey, Kaylee Goodwin, Ken Price, Amanda Brown, yes, Todd Crago, that's a total white name, right? Todd Crago?
Todd Crago, I think so.
We've been fucking batting them
outside
out
of Bridges. There have been a lot of Black Todds.
Todd Shaw, too. That's,
Black Chad and Black Todd, not the most.
Right, yeah.
Todd Bridges, Chad Ochocinco. Other than that, we're pretty much out of them.
And Todd Shaw.
And Todd Shaw.
Right. That's my guy.
Yeah.
That's too short. Andrea, I said it twice.
Yeah.
Andrea Wiersma, Jeff with no last name, Ariana Folsom, Jay Mullins. I think I said Amanda Brown. I did. David Hadnot, Sarah Fletcher. Jesus.
Again,
why would I do that?
Why would you do that?
What the fuck?
Sorry.
Is Sarah,
we
you're
appreciate
fantastic.
it. You're wonderful, Sarah.
Megan Wilgus. When I wrote that, I was like, I'm going to say it. I
know
know I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you know
and
it's
I
coming.
did. Roberta Byer, Lincoln Weninger, Kyle Krasowski. I feel so bad for these. I'm an asshole. Sorry. Lee A. Dice, Amber Rachel, Brinshindo is Brinshindo 39, who was I said his name wrong. His name is not whatever I said.
Well, not surprising.
But you nailed it. A black guy.
See?
But he does not grab dicks like Brett Rogers. He wanted us to know.
Thank you.
So we know
good.
that.
That's good. It's helpful for everyone.
Billy Bob Bob Archer, Rachel Michelle, no, Amber Rachel, I said that. Bill McClellan, Carrie Summers, Jeremiah Norton, Casey with no last name, Matt Darwin, Ryan Charles Clarkin, Brian Weber or Weber, Craig McGeechan, Anastasia De La Cruz. What? How did I do that?
You bursted that. Well, those are pretty easy names.
Anastasia, though, should trip me up.
Probably.
Anita Mitchell, Marion Sullivan, Bob Richard, Anita Mitchell, Jake LeBeer coming through every week again, Sophia Duncan, Diablo Conqueso donated again. Thank you. Appreciate it. Liberty Greer, she probably goes by Libby. I knew a girl named Liberty. That's a cool name.
That is a cool name, actually.
That one in America. There's a lot of Spanish ladies named America, and I dig that. I like that a lot. That's fucking cool.
A lot of Spanish ladies named America?
Yeah, I know a lot of ladies that are of Spanish or Mexican or Latin, Latina, I guess.
So you know a bunch of Spanish ladies all named America and a bunch of all black guys that only went to Brown.
Surprisingly enough, I was wrong about that. They went to Howard. That's the all black.
Howard is a black college. I would have said Howard's a black college.
I was like, what? Is that true?
Yeah, no.
And then,
you just heard Brown.
Right. I just heard Brown, and I was like, brown people, for
you
sure.
Said brown people.
Right.
Jimmy Low-Hanging Fruit Wisman. His fruit hangs low like his nutsack.
And so I went back to work, and I asked the dude, I was like, you went to Brown, right? And he goes, what? And I was like, you went to Brown, right? And he's like, no, man.
It's fucking Ivy League, man. I would still be paying back my student loans. Right. It's like $400,000.
He goes, I went to Howard. And I was like, that's the black college. And he goes, what? And I was like, never mind. I got to go.
Never mind. Long
we got
story.
an HR department here. I got to run.
I got to go. Never mind.
Sophia Duncan, Diablo Conqueso. I said that. Where'd I go? Eric Herman, Jonathan King, Jennifer, Maychak Brockman. Yes. Yeah. Brett with no last name. He's on Twitter, though. He's fucking.
Why, thank you.
Cool dude. I like him.
Thank you, man.
Eric Berry, Mary Faust, Terry Michael Patterson, Heather Jones, Sarah McCullough, Kevin Ramsey. And we're at the home stretch, James.
Let's do it,
We're
baby.
almost there. KC Miller, Janae Content or Content. I'm not sure. I'll take it, though, Janae. Thank you very much. Simonetta George or Simonetta. Fucking, I don't know. You don't either.
No, I definitely don't.
Melanie Hodge, Robert Spear, Thomas Karnak, that's what it is, Thomas Karnak, Julie McCormick, Sarah Carlson, Christina Cleland, Travo, 1978. That's interesting. Emily Brazel or Brazel, Kara Teague, Carly Warden, Rick Freeman, and Phoebe Ryan. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. It's overly appreciated. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Honestly, thank you so much.
Yeah, we can't do it without you.
We can't. Your donations mean the world to us. They keep us going. They keep, electricity on. And now we have a studio to maintain. And
it's fun, though.
It's great.
Fucking great.
We love it so much. Thank you guys for allowing us to kind of become independent a little more and allow us to be our own thing and to do our own thing.
Be our own guys.
Well, they do it on every level, Jimmy. Number one, we can say and do anything we fucking want because we have their support. Yeah. We don't care if a sponsor says we don't like you saying that or can you curse less or like we've had before, and we say no. Here's what we can do for you. We can do our show and you can either sponsor it or you can eat dicks. Right. Those are your fucking options. Don't care what you say, don't care what you think, because what we care about is the people who are listening. Number one, because that they're the listeners, so they're what's important, and number two, they're donating money to us too. So you can't even say, well, we pay your bills. No, you don't, motherfuckers. Our listeners pay our bills. Anything else?
I wish we had the money to hire Eddie Murphy to be our spokesperson.
Yes.
And when they say things like that, could you curse less? Just hand the phone to him and go, suck him, suck him, suck him, suck my dick, suck him.
Have a Coke and a smile. Shut the fuck up. That's what, That's what I said.
He said, suck it, take it all down your throat and suck it.
Take it deep down your mouth and suck it. Suck it.
God damn it.
Stick it down in your mouth and suck it.
That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want them to do.
Because that's what it is. So that we get to say that to sponsors or networks or anybody that has any word to say about the show. We don't have to listen to them because we're beholden to you guys because you guys do all this shit for us. So thank you so much. And what if somebody wanted to be beholden to you, Jimmy? How could they find you to get that status?
You could find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And I appreciate you guys being around and sending me all the fucking bananas bananas. The Jacob from the, what is it, Louisville? Was it Louisville?
I think so.
I don't know. It's a fucking zoo.
Yeah.
And he sent the fucking coolest gifts.
That's so
and the
cool. Yeah,
snaps
they're
that he sends
amazing.
me
Thank
are
you.
insane.
Gifts are dope.
The guys, thank you guys for everything you send. It's amazing.
Thank you guys. And if you want to get a hold of me, I'm at Jimmy P is Funny. You can find me there, or just copy and paste from the show description.
Yeah.
And do it that way. Don't try to spell it. You will hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your arm and your eyes. Everything's going to be messed up. You're going to be limping.
Left click.
You're going to be limping for a while. You could break your third and fourth vertebrae in your neck. It could happen. It's happened many, many times
but
like that.
The next time you'll do it faster.
You'll do it faster. So follow us, do that, keep coming back each and every week. And, we will definitely be doing that live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.